Good morning. Welcome to today's meeting of the Assembly Committee on Government Affairs for the 2025 legislative session. Will the Secretary please call the roll?
Assembly members Carter.
Present.
DeLong.
Present.
De Silva.
Here.
Edgeworth.
Present.
Flanagan.
Here.
Gallant.
Here.
Goulding.
Here.
Gurr.
Here.
Gurr.
Here.
Hunt. Jackson. Karras. Kasama. Wynn. Chair Considine.
And I am here, and welcome back to Assemblymember Kasama. Welcome to the audience in Carson City, those joining by video conference in Las Vegas, and those listening over the internet, and those in overflow rooms that we have here in Carson City today. I would like to begin with a few housekeeping measures. Please check and silence your electronic devices. If you wish to testify, please sign in at the table by the door and provide a business card to the committee secretary. When testifying, please turn on the microphone and clearly state your name and any affiliation for the record. Turn the microphone off each time you are done speaking. If you are providing handouts, please ensure that hard copies are available for all the members of the public. Electronic copies should have been submitted to our committee manager by 9 a.m. on Friday for committee members. We expect courtesy and respect in our interactions during the meeting, even if we disagree with someone else's position. I encourage committee members to ask questions and engage with the material presented. If you have any follow-up questions, please flag them for me so we can ensure we balance our time effectively, especially today when we have 3 bills on the calendar. Committee members will be using their laptops to view handouts and other documents, and please do not interpret this as a sign of disrespect or inattention. And with that, let's get started. Today we will hear 3 bills, and we are hearing them a little out of order. First, we will hear Assembly Bill 185, which revises provisions relating to child care. Then we will hear AB 269, which revises provisions relating to education. And finally, AB 145, which revises provisions relating to veterans. To ensure that we get through everyone fairly and in a timely manner, we will set a 15-minute time limit for each period of support, opposition, and neutral testimony, with each speaker having 2 minutes. To ensure we allow as many people as possible to testify, please feel free to say ditto if someone else has already covered your testimony. And as a reminder, support means that you support the bill as introduced or with any amendments that are being introduced. If you support the bill except or but there's one thing you want to change, that is opposition. So you would need to testify in opposition. And neutral means that you're neither supporting nor opposing the bill. And I will now open the hearing on AB 185. To present this measure, we have Assembly Member Anderson, and please go ahead when you're ready.
Good morning, Government Affairs. Thank you, Chair Considine and Vice Chair Nguyen, for the opportunity to present AB 185. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out, I've got one more person that should be sitting next to me, so hopefully Ms. Stewart will be showing up soon. I'm looking around the room and here and then hoping maybe she's in the other room as well. Again, good morning, though. Thank you so much for this opportunity to present 185. My name is Natha Anderson, and it is my honor to represent Assembly District 30. It's nice to be in front of this committee again. Different room, but same feeling of collaboration. Really quickly, childcare and early learning programs are foundations for any well-functioning society. It's providing large and lasting economic and societal returns and setting children up for success in school and beyond. Those are not my words. Those are actually from the Center for American Progress, a report that came out in January of this year, just a few weeks ago. In this lengthy report, they went over how we do not have enough early child care places or educators around our nation. Our own state has done similar research. According to the February 2023 Governor's Office of Workforce Innovation, or GOIN, The Governor's Workforce Development Board released a child care report of findings show that inadequate access to child care creates barriers for working families and impedes the economy. From the press release, which I believe has been uploaded as an exhibit, 74% of Nevada's children ages 0 to 5 do not have access to licensed childcare. In Nevada, childcare is more expensive than college tuition. Let's make that clear. Childcare is more expensive than after 12th grade. And every county is an early child care desert. It's not just in our two most populous, it's every county. So this issue is much more than just, oh, well, let's just build more places. We need to do something. This is a very, it's an issue that it's easy for us just to look past because it's early child care. And many of us might not have a child under the age of 5 in our family, but many of us do know individuals who are going through this issue. It totally lends itself to the idiom, how do you eat an elephant? And that's what this bill is going to try to do. It's going to take one very, very small bite of a very large elephant. According to this same report, Nevada is a child care desert due to not enough infrastructure and child care workers. Capacity building in both areas is needed. And child care facilities should not be a one-size-fits-all because of Nevada's key economic industries, whether that is mining, hospitality, warehousing. We are a 24/7 state. Some people will say it's a town, it's a state. And we need to do something about that. In my district alone, I'm often faced with individuals who have children, find the child care services, are ready to go, but because they work in an industry where they are then stuck on traffic issues, Tesla or Panasonic, they then are not able to actually utilize those child care facilities because they get charged by the minute if they are late. By the minute they're late. Again, this is only one small item for us to try to bring forward. Before I actually go into the entire bill, I'd like to hand it over to Denise Tanada of the Children's Cabinet. We do have a PowerPoint, however, I do not see it up at this time. And so I'm not sure how you'd like to handle that. I do not, actually, I'm so sorry. And we do not either. So I will see if I can get somebody to bring it up, but if you'd like to try without it at this time. And then that way you guys can play with it. Sorry about that.
It's okay. For the record, Denise Tanada. I'm an early childhood comprehensive systems consultant with the Children's Cabinet. So I want to thank Assembly Member Anderson for having me here today and for you all. So I was asked just to provide some landscape, some background on the child care system. And it's fitting, the Children's Cabinet every 2 years puts out an early education and care fact sheet. And so, not sure if this is part of your materials.
It is.
Should be. But this is hot off the presses, just came out last week with the most recent and up-to-date information regarding early education and care. And I just want to highlight a few of those points. As the Assembly member said, Nevada remains a child care desert. Licensed care meets only about 36% of the demand for children ages 0 to 5, where all parents are in the workforce statewide. One of the things we also did with this fact sheet was we took a look at trends, so looking at data from 2018 to 2024. And one of the most alarming statistics that we saw was that we had a 55% decrease in family child care during that period. So while we had a little bit of an increase in overall capacity because of increase in child care centers, the number of family child care, home-based family child cares that we've had has decreased significantly. And a lot of that has to do with barriers that those providers face in trying to operate or become a licensed family child care. If my slides were up, I would be moving to the next one. So just want to also provide some groundwork when we talk about home-based childcare providers. There's really three types that we're talking about. The first is license exempt home-based childcare providers, or in statute, those are referred to as small childcare establishment. And that is for individuals who are caring for 4 or less children. So there's no requirements that they be licensed in the state. So, but where we're focused on today is really our 2 levels of licensed home-based providers. Thank you. The first is family child care provider, and we often refer to them as an FCC. And that is for a provider that is caring for 6 or less children. And then we have group family child care, which you'll be hearing from one of our group family child care providers here shortly. And they have 12 children or less. So both of those licensed categories, family child care and group family child care, they have to go through state licensing, which looks at a wide range of issues. They have to go through health and safety, so their local health district, zoning, special use permits, if their localities require that, fire safety inspections, have to have liability insurance, and 24 hours of annual continuing education units. Oh, beautiful.
Thank you so much, Alexa.
Thank you. All right. Let me get back. Okay, so this is the slide I just went over. So just wanted to provide that groundwork. So when we're talking about home-based childcare today, we are talking about those 2 categories of licensed childcare providers. Another recent study that came out was looking, last year we commissioned a study that just came out this year to really take a deeper dive into Nevada home-based child care. And some of the key findings there was that when families were looking for child care, one of the biggest issues that they were looking at is that the care is located close to their home, work, or school. And we also found that about 23% of the parents who participated in that study reported that they had to relocate or move to another town, state, or county for childcare. Home-based childcare is an important aspect of our early care and education system because it helps meet the needs of families. A lot of families want to have their children in those smaller settings. It's oftentimes, and particularly in our rural areas, to have childcare that is close to your home or to your work. Oftentimes, these are the providers who will work non-traditional hours. Not all of them do, but a lot of them do, and can provide some flexibility for those shift workers that we have across the state. And most, maybe not most importantly, but a huge factor is cost. Home-based childcare is a lot less expensive than center-based care, and we'll show you that in just a moment. We've done a lot of work over the past couple of years to try and improve the capacity and the quality of home-based childcare in the state. We've there were some funding through the American Rescue Plan Act, through the Child Care and Development Program, where we were able to provide business training and coaching. We established the Care Nevada program, which actually allows, purchases homes, renovates them into group family child care, provides training and coaching to individuals who have experience in the child care space, but want to expand their business, to work with them to get them into those homes and eventually create home ownership for those providers as well. We've done a ton of professional development training. We used to have startup grants that those providers could use for a lot of the costs that they incur with starting up a new business and a child care business. Those are no longer funded. And we're also looking at home-based child care as an opportunity to serve as a mixed delivery model for expanding pre-K in our state. So currently, pre-K is offered in districts. It's also offered in child care centers, and we're beginning to expand to be able to offer that in home-based child care. So it's another reason why we need to have more access, expand the capacity of our home-based child care providers. I do want to note with that Care Nevada program that was purchasing the homes and renovating, the biggest issue that they've had with that program is the limited amount of inventory, because they cannot purchase homes that are located in a homeowners association because of the potential restrictions. So it has limited their ability to find homes. So just wanted to end with just some information regarding the cost, because this, we know, is a big issue for families, particularly now, since our last year, the state had to lower the eligibility requirements for our state's child care subsidy program. So we have more families who are now looking for cost-effective child care for their children who are no longer eligible for that child care subsidy program. And as you can see from the data, cost of licensed care as a percent of median family income, the family child care cost versus the cost of center-based care is much more cost efficient for families, although it still is taking up a significant percentage of overall income, particularly for single-parent households. So with that, I want to thank you, and I will pass it back over to the Assembly.
Thank you, Ms. Tanada. Next, though, before I go into the actual bill, I would like to hand it over to Deetra Stewart. Mrs. Stewart is a home child care provider, and she is president of the association. And by the way, this was Assemblymember Anderson.
For the record, my name is Deetra Stewart, DeetraStewart, and I am a dedicated home-based child care provider in Nevada. I want to share my personal experience navigating HOA restrictions to highlight why AB 185 is critical for families and providers across our state. For over 26 years, I have provided safe, high-quality child care in my home, serving working families in my community. However, despite meeting all state licensing requirements and maintaining child care insurance, then out of the blue, my HOA prohibited me from operating. I was shocked and horrified. My family lost income, and the families I served lost their child care provider. The HOA raised concerns about traffic, unknown visitors, and potentially liability risks. Concerns that, while understandable, were based on misconceptions about home-based child care. They had the power to shut down my fully licensed business, so they did. Determined to continue serving families who rely on me, I worked tirelessly for over 3 months to meet with my HOA board, educate them on the state regulations, and provide documentation proving my compliance. Only after extensive effort did they finally approve my ability to continue operating. But this should not be the norm. No provider should have to fight just to care for children in a legally licensed, safe environment. AB 185 is about fairness, family access, and community support. It ensures that qualified home-based providers are not arbitrarily blocked from offering essential child care services in their homes. This bill doesn't just protect providers like me, it ensures that families have access to affordable, high-quality child care where they live. I urge you to approve AB 185 and remove unnecessary barriers so providers can focus on what matters most: caring for our children, and supporting our communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Stewart. Again, this is Natha Anderson for the record. AB 185 is actually attempting to fix exactly what the sort of situation that Ms. Stewart brought up. As you can see from the slide, there are 3,699 registered homeowners associations. This serves over 608,000 units across our state. This was presented in the Assembly Committee on Commerce and Labor earlier in February, actually. That number is alarming, and it will continue to grow. If you live in Clark County or in Washoe County, you know that there continues to be new housing developments being approved. Many times these housing developments are governed by an HOA. So just to kind of walk through the bill a little bit with the chair's permission, it would prohibit the operations of, it addresses the very issue by preventing homeowners associations or HOAs from prohibiting the operation of licensed home-based child care services unless they are an HOA for over 50 years of age. Again, it's only early child care. This is not for any other entity. FCC or family child care, as you heard earlier, are services offered in the home of the providers and is capped at a maximum of 12. There was a typo in the exhibit that said it was 6. It's only able to be 12, a maximum of 12 per children per household. The conceptual amendment seems to be misleading, so we're still working through that with the counties. But again, want to make sure that it's very clear. This is for early child care facilities only. A concern was raised last night, and so I'm still working with that with Clark County regarding that concern to try to make that change. The other thing AB 185 allows for is the outdoor space is required to be within a mile. Most of the time, that outdoor space will be much closer than a mile. The counties can always make it closer. This is the maximum, though, so then that is one thing to do. Those ordinances are kind of needed, though, because as we grow up as a state, both literally and figuratively, I guess, we need to start thinking about apartment complexes, and we need to start thinking about how we are going to continue to grow our buildings a little bit larger. In closing, I'd just like to remind, or just like to state, I'm a high school teacher. My seniors right now are getting ready to graduate. I just received an email last night a student asking me for an assignment. I'm like, I don't know what assignment you're talking about, but okay. They're excited about graduation. They're ready to go. They're getting their letters of acceptance. They're seeing the reality that very soon they will be done with education as they know it. But the reason why I bring up my seniors, their graduation plan actually starts in pre-K. When we think that graduation begins at freshman year, that is incorrect. It starts with that base. It starts when they are 3, when they are 2, when they have somebody that cares about them and allows them to play and imagine. That's when their graduation actually starts. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and we're ready for any questions. And thank you also for getting the PowerPoint going, Mr. Ostroff. Greatly appreciate it.
Thank you for that presentation. Committee members, do we have any questions? First question is from Assemblymember Gurr.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for the presentation. My question, I was waiting for Rich to do something, but what does this do to local government zoning laws, and how does it force it into neighborhoods without any residents' oversight and overview? And does it create a mandate on local governments to now go back and review every one of their zoning codes and every one of their zoning ordinances that restrict it today?
Assemblymember Anderson, for the record, thank you for bringing that up. I really do appreciate the question because that is not the intent of this at all. This is only in HOAs. This is only also if there seems to be an issue that is brought forward. We are not expecting the cities and counties to go through and review every single thing on their own. This is if there's a complaint that is filed afterwards. That way then we could make sure that that is clear. Now it'd be great though if on their own, if somebody were to volunteer and say, let's go through this on our own, sure. But this is not asking for that mandate, no. Because there's another area that I forgot to clarify as well during the presentation. This is still going through the same process for the early childcare providers as well. They're still expected to have their license up. They're still expected to do all those things. But that is not the expectation, no. We are not expecting a convening or anything like that.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for the answer.
Thank you. Our next question is from Assemblymember Kasama.
Thank you, Chair. Certainly agree with the need for childcare. I've used it myself for my children, and my daughter struggled with my grandchildren, and so it's a big issue, and I understand the charge per minute you're late. I paid that, so it is a real issue. The concern I have with targeting with the HOAs is, I'm in real estate, and I'll take people out, and one of the questions I ask them, would you like to be in an HOA community or not? And people are very adamant about, I absolutely don't want an HOA. I don't want rules. I want to be able to do what I want. And I have other people like, no, I like the HOA because there's rules and I know what I'm getting into. This seems to me to change the whole concept of why people would choose to go into an HOA or not. And the other concern I have that it seems to me would open the door that now, because the HOAs don't allow businesses, typically most HOA communities don't allow businesses to operate within the community, and then it seems like you might be opening up for other businesses, and this is the very reason why some people might choose to be in that. And it would seem to me that the only way this might work would be if it was subject to the HOA approvals. And you had a great example, you were able to get your HOA to approve it, but I think other residents should have the opportunity to know if they're moving into a community where businesses are allowed before they move in and before they purchase or rent there, so they know, what they're getting into. So that would be my recommendation.
Assemblymember Anderson, through the chair, thank you. Thank you for bringing up that concern. I'm not sure what the question is, but I think it's that it should be up to
You'd have to
HOAs.
have,
Okay.
the question would be, I think it should be a suggestion that the HOA would approve it, and then people would know ahead of time if they move into the community, not that this HOA allows businesses to operate here.
Thank you. Thank you for that clarification. I think that Ms. Stewart had an answer to that as well, and then I might have something to add. So Ms.
Okay,
Stewart.
My name is Deetra Stewart, for the record. I love your question. I love your concerns. I love HOAs. I live in an HOA, and I chose an HOA. I chose an HOA because I didn't want certain things going on in my community. My husband is a loan officer. He is a broker for real estate. And so we have a business. We have two businesses. We have a business for real estate, and we have a business for family childcare. It's been like that for years. The one thing that I will say is that as a family childcare provider, HOAs will never, never, never have the same licensing regulations. They will never meet up to the same licensing regulations that HOAs would reach. The HOAs know nothing about how deep that goes. From our licensing, from the health department, from the fire department, I've never, as far as I've been in an HOA, they've never required me just as a business person or just a resident to have any other type of rules or licensing for anything else. So our association, our businesses, they are governed by licensing, which those rules go, there is a long, long list of the things that are required. So I would just say that an HOA, there are many good things that are involved in an HOA. And unless we are violating HOA rules, there would be no reason that we couldn't live there, right? Or that we couldn't have our businesses there. So if we are letting people in and we shouldn't be letting certain people in, if there's loud noises, that wouldn't be okay if it wasn't a business. So I appreciate that, because I wouldn't want anyone here to think that we don't want the HOAs. We love the HOAs. But unless we're violating any regulations, we should be just as welcome. And children should be able to be provided care, especially those children that or families that have children and they live in that community. So I take care of the neighbor's child, the child across the street, the child down the street, and the HOA is prohibiting that. And this is where children learn best, where they feel comfortable. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question is from Assemblymember Goulding.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for the presentation, and thank you for your efforts to open up more childcare facilities. Can you, so I think that the bill would allow childcare in multifamily units. And if so, is there some zoning requirement for a square footage for number of kids when the limit in your presentation said 12? And I can imagine apartments where 12 would be an inappropriate number. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Assemblymember Anderson, for the record, that is correct. And each county can also do a little bit more with the zoning around there. However, I would ask that Ms. Tanada kind of answer your question a little bit more.
Thank you. Denise Donata for the record. So childcare licensing, state childcare licensing has specific requirements regarding space. So both indoor space and outdoor space. The outdoor space, which has been presented the problem for apartment complexes, condominiums, things like that, which is what this bill is partially attempting to address, is provide an alternative to that outdoor space for those units. But a licensed provider would still have to meet all the requirements for licensing for indoor space. Most likely, given what we know about the size of apartments, condos, things like that, they would most likely be limited to that licensed family child care, that's six, under 6 children. It'd be highly unlikely that a condo or apartment would have enough space to be a group family child care. So they would still have to meet those state licensing requirements.
Thank you. Our next question is from Assemblymember DeLong.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for the presentation. I did have a question about one portion of the bill, aside from what everyone else is bringing up, which are all good questions. How was the 50 years chosen? That appears to be somewhat arbitrary, as well as quite limiting, given the recent growth of the state.
Assemblymember Anderson, for the record, thank you for bringing that up, because that was also one that I was like, really, 50 years? That feels kind of, because honestly, I felt like it should be 65. But I think that it's because of there are some of the HOAs that are catered to an older generation to be able to live around that area. I'll just bring in my own family for this one. My mother happens to live in one like that. And when I was talking with her about this in December, she's like, well, I don't want to have a whole bunch of kids. I said, Mom, it's less than 12 people. It's 6 people. It's okay. And she said, no, I agree. I think it makes sense. However, when there is the communities that are catering to the older time frame or older generation, that's kind of that idea of it. And so that's kind of where that comes from. I would agree, though. I'd be more than happy to have it the over 65, because I don't think 50 is old, but that's because of my age. And I own it. So.
Thank you. I was actually thinking 40, but that's okay.
Thank you. Our next question is from Assemblymember Flanagan.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for the presentation. This is limited to I noticed it said tenant arranged, like tenant agreements. So I'm assuming it applies to homeowners. Are there any concerns or plans to make sure like companies couldn't buy houses for people to live in to operate daycares? So it becomes a way to have them in the neighborhood, but to work around the other requirements because now you're in a HO, you're a home-based daycare. Thank you.
Assemblymember Anderson, for the record, I had not thought of that issue. Honestly, for me, I would hope not, because I think that kind of defeats the purpose of why we have the setup of it, which is that it's somebody's home. And they're coming into your house, and that whole idea of how this situation works. However, if there's a need to clarify that a little bit more, I'm more than happy to do so. And then I know that Ms. Tanada also has an answer to that.
Thank you, Denise Tanada, for the record. Don't really have an answer. An anecdote is for businesses, if you're thinking of like some of those corporate childcare centers that have like the larger centers, it wouldn't be cost effective for them to buy a bunch of homes and turn them into group family childcare. Where they're getting the larger profits is having a larger number of children in one space with limited overhead. So we don't tend to see that. There are other states that have enacted these provisions regarding HOAs, and to my knowledge, we haven't seen any like corporate buyout of homes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. May I have a follow-up or additional?
If you can do a quick follow-up for time,
Okay.
thank you.
I wasn't necessarily thinking of corporations, just thinking of individuals who might purchase homes and see this as a pathway to establishing businesses in the neighborhood.
Then if Ms. Stewart could also answer that.
For the record, my name is Deetra Stewart. I thought of that. I've thought of that actually last night, and I thought about where family child cares come from. Because taking care of children, before women were really in the workforce, what were we doing? We were taking care of children, right? And so we are the foundation of childcare. Childcare went out into the community when the community started wanting to start businesses, and they realized the money that could be made. But family child care providers, they take care of children because it's what we do. We are the foundation. We are the pillars of taking care of children. So we want to give parents that choice. They want the choice of, do I want my child in a center base or do I want my child in a home base? So these are parents that have chosen families. They've chosen, personally interviewed. I interview people. People come and they think that they're interviewing me, and I say, no, I'm interviewing you, right? Because it's a mutual agreement. I am going to care for your child. I am feeding into your child, the sponge, and helping with the culture, develop the culture of your child. So I don't believe that would go any further than that. I don't believe that people will just start purchasing homes so that they can say, oh, I have a business. I want to make sure that I understand you, but I thought that I kind of think that we're on the same space. So again, family child care providers, it is a choice that parents make. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question is from Assemblymember Gallant.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning. Thank you for bringing this bill forward. As a property manager, I've literally seen the worst of the worst when it comes to HOAs. So I can't say that I love HOAs. I might even go on the record and say I hate them. And I think this is, and I'm looking at this section here, Section 1, number 2, talking about like imposing conditions and restrictions that the CCNRs can do this. And I'm wondering, and maybe we can do this offline after the hearing to talk about maybe emulating more in terms of the language that we did for solar panels, pretty much saying that HOAs cannot deny you solar panels, and that they have to be in line with whatever the state regulations are. Because I think you have to protect for the worst of the HOA boards. And listen, I don't think people are mean or nasty. I just think they're uninformed and don't really quite understand what their role is as an HOA board member. And it's not to micromanage your everyday personal life, but to maintain your property values. And this is not something that's going to be affecting your property values. So maybe if you guys are interested, we can sit down and talk about that later. Thank you.
Assemblymember Anderson, for the record, more than happy to do so.
Okay, and our last question is from Assemblymember Carter. He will ask offline. So that is our questions. So at this point, thank you for the presentation. We will move to support, opposition, and neutral. Knowing that we have overflow rooms here in Carson City and I believe in Las Vegas, and guessing that there are folks in the overflow rooms that want to come in and give support. We will start on the phone lines, then we will move to Las Vegas, and then we will move back to Carson City. So if you are in support and you are in Las Vegas, please make your way to the table. And if you are in Carson City and in an overflow room, please make your way into 3143 to come to the table to start support here. In the meantime, AVH, is there anyone on the lines for support of AB 185?
To testify in support of Assembly Bill 185, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue.
Good morning, Chair and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Tara Webster, T-A-R-A-W-E-B-S-T-E-R, and I'm the Policy Manager with the Progressive Leadership Alliance of Nevada. In addition, I'm a founding family and board member of the Desert Peach Montessori School in Northwest Reno, which serves children aged 1 through 6. I'm calling in support of AB 185 because childcare deserts are widespread across Nevada, with rural areas and low-income neighborhoods being particularly affected. A 2023 report by Nevada Governor's Workforce Development Board found that nearly 75% of children aged 0 to 5 don't have access to licensed childcare. This burden isn't just impacting women, caretakers, and working families, it's directly affecting our children's development. Childcare is a necessity for families, but the cost is a substantial financial burden. Even with 2 incomes, my husband and I spend over $1,300 a month on childcare when our son was just an infant. In addition, finding care for him when he was an infant was incredibly difficult, and he was on multiple wait lists, and I spent countless hours searching for an opening for his age group. The process of opening a child care center is complex and time-consuming, often taking 9 to 12 months. Zoning restrictions and high overhead costs are additional barriers to entry for new child care facilities, and as a result, child care centers are often located in less than ideal locations, such as near busy roads and freeways, rather than in residential neighborhoods where they should be, and they would be more accessible and convenient for families. AB 185 offers a practical and cost-effective solution to expand access to affordable home-based childcare across our state. The Progressive Leadership Alliance of Nevada and Desert Peach Montessori School strongly supports AB 185.
Thank you. Next caller.
Good morning, Chair, and this is former Assemblywoman Clara Thomas, C-L-A-R-A-T-H-O-M-A-S. I wanted to lend my support to AB 185. My experience for AB 185 is that as a military mom, I was able to use the child-based child care because it was close to my Nellis Air Force Base, and it lent for that motherly and fatherly bringing up of my child. I was a shift worker, and it was just a great environment for my child and for myself. It lent for me to know that I had great child care and it was close to Nellis Air Force Base. And I really support AB 185, and I'm hoping that the committee will support that also. Thank you.
Thank you. Next caller?
Morning, Chair and Committee. For the record, my name is Evelyn Pacheco, EVELYN PACHECO. I'm an Army veteran, and I'm also the owner and the president of Nevada Women in Trades. And I really strongly support this bill because that is a big barrier for the ladies that are wanting to get into the construction workforce. And we have daycare from 9 to 5, but there's no daycare for the times that the ladies, and this is not just about women we're talking about families that need this. So those that are opposing this bill, you need to come up with a solution, right, for this, for the barriers that are stopping women and families from entering the workforce because there's no daycare. So I strongly please that this committee supports AB 185. And thank you for your time.
Thank you. AVH, is there anyone else on the line in support of AB 185?
Thank you, Chair. The line is open and working. We have no additional callers in support at this time.
Thank you. And seeing no one at the table in Las Vegas, again, if you are wishing to testify in support to AB 185 in Las Vegas, please make your way to the table. In the meantime, we will come back to Carson City and we will begin hearing testimony in support of AB 185. So please turn on the microphone, state your name, and go ahead.
Hi, my name is Justin Booba, Justyn, Boumah, Boumah. And why I want to support this bill is because Nevada is all of our home, and we should support it because you're supporting the future of Nevada, us.
Thank you. Please go ahead.
Good morning. What a wonderful time to go after this young man. Good morning, Chair Considine and members of the committee. My name is Jamelle Nance. That is JAMELLENANCE. For the record, I am speaking today on behalf of the Children's Advocacy Alliance. We are an independent voice for Nevada's children. We are in strong support of AB 185. This is one of our legislative priorities that are developed in coalition with child care providers, families, and leaders across the state. This week is Children's Week. As you can see, we're here in solidarity in our blue to show how important education is with us, starting with our youngest Nevadans. As you are aware, Nevada is a child care desert, and families are struggling to find affordable, accessible care. Right now, HOAs can prevent families or licensed child care providers from opening child care facilities in their home, further reducing the options for working parents. And so AB 185 removes this unnecessary restriction, allowing trained, qualified providers to serve their communities without HOA interference. Home-based childcare is essential. It is often more affordable, provides flexible hours for parents, as you heard, non-traditional work schedules to support our women that we talked about just on the line. And so while we've heard the statistic that over 70% of the state lacks enough providers, these programs are already regulated by the state, ensuring safety, quality, and proper oversight. At a time when 10,000 children recently lost access to child care subsidies, we must be working to expand child care options, not restrict them. AB 185 protects child care providers, supports working families, and ensures child care providers and children have safe learning environments. So we do urge your support for AB 185 to give more Nevada families access to the child care they need and deserve. So thank you so much.
Good morning, Chair and members of the committee. I hope you didn't suffer through daylight savings time as bad as I did. My name is Justice Forrest, spelled just like the words for the record. I represent the Nevada Association for the Education of Young Children. And we also strongly support this bill for all of the reasons Dr. Nance mentioned, but as well, early childhood providers, specifically home child providers, are small businesses. We want to support small business. We want to cut red tape to make it so that they can operate in our communities, providing for our communities, and that's exactly what this bill does. It cuts red tape, allowing small businesses to run and operate in our state. And frankly, they're providing, as the young gentleman who spoke far better than I did this morning said, they're supporting the future of our state. So we strongly support AB 185 and hope you do too.
Good morning, Chair and Committee. My name is Octavia McLaurin, OCTAVIA-MCLAURIN. I am supporting this bill because I am a family child care provider. I have been for over 15 years. Actually, I'm coming to Nevada as a new provider. I'm originally from Chicago. I did child care in Indiana, and I came to Nevada with so much different changes with HOA. I didn't have to deal with HOA when I was doing child care. And when I came out here, opening up on the north side of Las Vegas, I lost income. I had a lot of expenses. I have 13 children that I had to relocate out here. And as I did that, I had to say, hey, I have to keep going, you know. So once I did do that, I actually moved to the southwest side of Las Vegas. And once I moved there, I had to actually have the management company, the owner, to come in every 6 months just to get a visualization of what I was doing. So they understand, because they didn't know, to take back to HOA. So it affected me a lot. So my ask is that, you know, we cover, we be supportive, and also that we have children that have different disabilities that I specialize in. And I lost a lot of that too as well. So I just wanted to let y'all know my experience.
Thank you. We have a few more minutes left for support, so if somebody has said something that you would like to just ditto, please just ditto. But go ahead.
Hello, good morning, committee and chair. My name is Vontina Parker, VAHENTINA. I am a home-based child care provider, and the reason I'm supporting this bill is because I was affected personally. I moved into Nevada from Los Angeles, California, home care provider there as well. And once moving in, I started my child care in Nevada in 2016. And from 2016, at the house that I came in from California, I was okay to become a home child care provider. They knew that was my profession, and that's what I was coming to do. The owner was okay, but then as I got further in and was getting close to license, I was stopped by a home association. I moved from that home to another home. That's a lot. I've been from home after home after home due to home home association, with the owners again being okay. Till it got to the point that I said, okay, maybe if I purchase a home, I didn't know that I can be stopped as well from being a child care provider as becoming a homeowner as well. So as we were in the motion of purchasing a home, the home association set in and they told me basically if I purchase the home again, I will have to close my child care. So I've been going from home to home. So finally I am now in a home thanks to the Care Nevada that allows me to do so. But I'm here speaking today in support of this bill for that we are here to support the children. Home-based childcare, I think, is very important for the children to get more one-on-one. It helps a lot. My kids also went to home-based childcare, but I feel we should be able to not only support and do things in certain communities, we should be able to open them up and help all communities for what we have passions to do to help families that's in these home associations. They have to travel to other places just in order to get their kids somewhere when they can probably have it in their area as well, and we can help them and make it easier for these working families. So I just feel instead of us being limited to what we can do and where we can do it, it should be a broader place where we can do in home association should allow us to be in there and come and see what we do. It's not as bad as they think. It's not a nuisance.
Thank
It's
you.
not
That
bad.
is your 2
Thank
minutes.
you.
Thank you. And then we'll take the two that are still sitting here. You have 2 minutes in total, if you can both do it within the 2-minute time frame.
Good morning, Chair Considine, Vice Chair Nguyen, and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Alex Pike with Flint Judici Government Affairs, representing strengthen our communities in support of AB 185. This measure will ensure HOAs cannot restrict small child care operations, which are operated by small business owners, primarily women, from providing care to a small number of children in their home. This bill supports working families by expanding access to child care, and we urge you to support this piece of legislation. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. My name is Tom Clark. I'm here on behalf of the Children's Cabinet United Way and the Reno Sparks Chamber of Commerce. Me too.
If you could do a quick me too, this is the last testimony in support.
Okay, good morning, Chair and Committee. Arzelia Sanford, Arzelia Sanford from East Las Vegas, and I support this bill as well for quality childcare.
Thank you. For those who still wish to testify and we didn't have the time, you can submit your testimony in writing to the committee within 24 hours after the hearing. We will now move on to opposition for AB 185. If you are in Carson City and wish to provide opposition testimony to AB 25 in Carson City, please come up to the table. If there's anyone in Las Vegas wishing to offer opposition testimony to AB 185, please come up to the table. And we will begin here in Carson City. And begin when you're ready.
Good morning, Chair, members of the committee. Nixa County Government Affairs Manager, City of Reno. That's NIC-CICC-ONE. Thank you, Chair Considine, and as well as to Assemblymember Anderson for being so willing to work with us on this proposed conceptual amendment, and we look forward to continuing to work with her. I'm only here in opposition to indicate I'd like to still work with the bill sponsor proponents on some of the definitions. As many have already said, childcare is an important need for Reno and across the state. For background and to address some of the questions I had heard from the committee, for the City of Reno, in-home childcare in Reno code means that the individual is living in the home as their permanent residence. So I don't believe someone could come in and buy a bunch of homes in order to operate childcare facilities. Additionally, we do not license any in-home childcare. We're only looking at the location and looking at maybe if it's near another sensitive use, such as a cannabis establishment. As referenced in the presentation, we use a discretionary approval process to ensure that it's in alignment with the existing uses or near or around the provider. When I asked our planners if any had been denied using our discretionary approval process, they had indicated that none had, and that one had recently withdrawn due to it violating their CCNRs, but nothing having to do with the city. Thank you, Chair and members of the committee.
Good morning, Chair Considine, members of the committee. Joanna Jacob, Jacob, no S, on behalf of Clark County. Also dittoing in part the comments from my colleague from the City of Reno. We've been working on behalf of Clark County. We've been working with the bill sponsor and the bill proponents on this bill, mostly because, as was very eloquently stated in the presentation, childcare is a significant need in Clark County. For background, also Clark County, we currently allow the family daycare under 6, just as permitted as a right, with no additional uses in our zoning regulations. And then we also regulate facilities larger with more than 6 kids under our special use permit. And that does allow, I think some of the conversation today was about looking at the surrounding areas, but also giving notice to the neighbors, and so an opportunity for the neighbors to come in and to know what was being proposed. So this has been something that we've been working on, again, just here because we're still working on the definitions. We want to make sure we don't wrap in other types of facilities that were that are not the ones that were discussed today. And so hopefully very soon get to neutral on this. I'm very thankful to Assemblywoman Anderson and the proponents to working with the local governments. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair Considine, members of the committee. For the record, David Cherry, DAVID-CHERRY, Government Affairs Manager for the City of Henderson. We too appreciate the sponsor's intent in bringing this bill to help address the need for increased child care options in our communities. The City of Henderson is in opposition to this bill as written. However, we are also working with the sponsor to amend AB 185 to preserve the role of local governments in land use planning and regulation as it pertains to these businesses. So we're very optimistic that we're going to be able to find a compromise that works for everybody, preserves the role that local governments need to play, but also helps further the goal of finding more child care options in our communities.
Thank you, Chair, members of the committee. For the record, Kelly Crompton representing the City of Las Vegas. I echo my municipal colleagues' sentiments and thank the bill sponsors and proponents for working with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here in Carson City wishing to testify in opposition to AB 185? Is there anyone in Las Vegas wishing to testify in opposition to AB 185? Seeing no one approach, AVH, is there anyone on the phone lines in opposition to AB 185?
To testify in opposition of Assembly Bill 185, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the committee. This is Dora Martinez, and I'm in opposition just because I haven't really read the bill, but I'm just concerned about the safety parameters and if it's going to be an apartment or town home. Hopefully it won't be on the second floor for the apartments, considering kids can get into things and it's not safe. Thank you so much for the sponsor. Have a good day.
Thank you, Ms. Martinez. We will move your testimony to opposition. AVH, is there anyone on the phone in neutral?
To testify in neutral for Assembly Bill 185, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. Chair, we have no callers wishing to testify in neutral or opposition at this time.
Thank you so much. I guess the daylight savings time did get me today. So yes, Ms. Martinez testified in opposition and there is no one on the lines in neutral. So we will move into neutral and begin again here in Carson City. Is there anyone here in Carson City wishing to testify in neutral to AB 185? Seeing no one, is there anyone in Las Vegas wishing to testify in neutral to AB 185? Seeing no one approach, if you'd like to, wait, hold on. We have someone in Las Vegas wishing to testify in neutral. Please go ahead.
Good morning, Madam Chair, committee members. Sonia Merriweather, Ombudsman for Common Interest Communities and Condominium Hotels. I'm here testifying as neutral and will be happy to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. It does not look like we have any questions. Thank you. Seeing no one else in neutral, if the presenter would like to make any final remarks.
Just to say thank you, Assemblymember Anderson, thank you so much for the opportunity to present, and I look forward to working with those that brought up concerns and also other members of the committee to make sure that this comes forward in a much stronger way. Thank you.
Thank you. I will close the hearing on AB 85. And I will now open the hearing on Assembly Bill 269, which revises provisions relating to education. To present this measure, we have Assembly Member De Silva. Please go ahead when you're ready.
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Assemblymember Ruben De Silva, and I proudly represent District 28 in beautiful North and East Las Vegas. I am proud to present AB 269 this morning alongside Dr. Sarah Hunt, Executive Director of Be Here Nevada, who is joining us from Las Vegas, and Mr. Eric Jimenez from the Treasurer's Office. The organization that Sarah Hunt represents' mission is to really increase the number of behavioral health care providers in Nevada. What we hope to accomplish with AB 269 is to increase the professions eligible for loan forgiveness through the Nevada Health Equity and Loan Assistance Program. This is known as the HEAL program. The Nevada HEAL program was created back during the 2023 legislative session with the passage of Assembly Bill 45. That bill established the student loan repayment for providers of healthcare in underserved communities program, and was housed in the State Treasurer's Office for the purpose of increasing and retaining healthcare professionals in Nevada. In the original version of the bill, the list of healthcare providers as defined by the bill included licensed marriage and family therapists and alcohol and drug counselors, clinical alcohol and drug counselors, as well as certified problem gambling counselors. However, in the final version of the bill, these professions were not included. Given the federally recognized mental health professional workforce shortage in our state, I thought it imperative to work with UNLV and Be Here to offer this student loan repayment program to licensed marriage and family therapists and alcohol, drug, and problem gambling counselors to encourage their retention in Nevada. I will now turn things over to Dr. Hunt in Las Vegas to talk a little bit about the work of Be Here Nevada and why these professions need to be included in Nevada HEAL. And then I will hand things over to Mr. Eric Jimenez from the Office of the Nevada Treasurer to talk about their friendly amendment. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair Considine and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Sarah Hunt, and I am the Executive Director of Be Here Nevada, and I'm a psychologist by training. Be Here Nevada is a designated behavioral health workforce development center under the Nevada System of Higher Education that was created in the 2023 legislative session through Assembly Bill 37. Be Here Nevada is a statewide initiative committed to recruitment, education, retention, and ongoing support of Nevada's behavioral health workforce. With regards to retention, the creation of student loan repayment programs for healthcare professionals is an important tool to encourage our students, graduates, and providers to remain in Nevada and care for our communities. Be Here Nevada promotes national and state-level student loan repayment programs to students and professionals. Marriage and family therapists and alcohol, drug, and gambling counselors provide much-needed mental health and substance abuse treatment throughout our state as healthcare providers. As such, their inclusion in the Nevada HEAL program gives us one more opportunity to encourage their retention in the state and recognize their important contributions to behavioral health care. Thank you.
And real quickly, Madam Chair, Eric Jimenez with the Treasurer's Office for the record. Uploaded on Nellis, the members will see a proposed amendment, which is a friendly amendment, and we're really grateful to Assemblymember De Silva for working with us to kind of strengthen and improve this bill. But we have seen a tremendous response to this program. For those of you who don't remember, AB 45 from the last session had a statutory language transferring $2.5 million each year from the Abandoned Property Trust Account or the Unclaimed Property Fund to fund this program. So this program has dedicated funding every single year through that automatic unclaimed property transfer. We just went through our first round of applications. We saw a tremendous response over that 30-day window and had 877 provider applications. So we see that there is a real need in the community, but as we've gone through that process, we recognize that there were some provider types that were unintentionally left out of the program and looking to expand those. So on the amendment, you will see, in addition to the marriage and family therapists and the problem gambling counselors and clinical alcohol and drug counselors, we are proposing to also expand it to include assistant behavior analysts. Those two professions provide support to our children with autism, physical therapists, speech language pathologists, and public health professionals who are employed by a county health authority or a regional health authority. Additionally, we have seen the provisions of the bill allow different types of providers to qualify where they are located, and a lot of that is based on census tract designation. We have seen that some providers may be ineligible for the program because they are on one side of Charleston and not on the other side of Charleston, which makes them not in a low-income census tract. So this proposed amendment allows someone, if they are directly adjacent to a low-income census tract, to also qualify for the program. With that, I think we're happy to take any questions, but I hope we can keep it short and sweet.
Thank you for that presentation. Our first question is from Assemblymember Goulding.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for the presentation. Thank you so much for bringing this bill. I appreciate it so much. Can you give us some sort of idea of what is the magnitude of the shortage of marriage and family therapists in rural and frontier Nevada?
Thank you, Assemblymember, for the question. Ruben De Silva for the record. It's dramatic. You know, we know that there is a shortage across the board in every single one of these career professions. And I would like Ms. Hunt there in Las Vegas to also speak on this matter. But we know that the situation is dire, and that these are some specific ways that we can address that problem by having these professions become part of the tuition reimbursement program through the HEAL program that's already set in NRS. Ms. Hunt?
For the record, Sarah Hunt. So I would say just in general, all of our rural counties are designated as behavioral health professional shortage areas. So essentially about 80 to 85% of all Nevadans live in a mental health professional shortage area. When it comes to marriage and family therapists in particular, I can get you those numbers, but we would need hundreds more just to meet the national average of marriage and family therapists per population. And that's also true of the other mental health professions too.
Hundreds more is a pretty impressive number. Thank you for that information.
Thank you. Our next question is from Assemblymember Gurr.
Thank you, Chair, but it was, the message was for Assemblymember Kasama. Her question.
Assemblymember Kasama.
I think my question was answered because I was looking at it. It's a finite pot, so there'll just be more people trying to access that pot now, correct?
Thank you for the question, Assemblymember. Eric Jimenez with the Treasurer's Office for the record. Yes, so there's a finite pool of money every year. So every January, this program will have an application window. There is a scoring rubric that the Treasurer's Office sets that's kind of dictated by regulation. And then that scoring rubric can change over time based on different factors that we're seeing. I will say, just for the members of the rural communities, 15% of the dollars every year, the first 15% are required to go to Nevada's rural counties.
All right, seeing that, you actually answered the last question on our list. So thank you for the presentation. We will now move to support, opposition, and neutral. We will still use the 15-minute time limit for each. And we will ask in Las Vegas if there's anyone in support to please come up to the table. And in Carson City, if there's anyone wishing to testify in support to AB 269, please come up to the table. Seeing that Las Vegas has already sat, we will begin in Las Vegas and start our 15 minutes. Please, if we can start with the person in the red in Las Vegas. Again, if someone says something that you have agreed with or plan to testify on, please say ditto so we can get more people in support on the record. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Considine and committee members. My name is Susan Priestman, Priestman, and I've been a physical therapist for 40 years, most of it in the state of Nevada. I am the president of APTA Nevada, which is the professional trade organization for physical therapists in the state. And physical therapists work in a myriad of settings, including hospitals, post-acute care, SNFs, in the home, in emergency departments, and of course in outpatient therapy. And so we are also direct access providers. We see patients immediately off the street without need for referral. We are also trained at the doctorate level. Physical therapists specialize in also a number of intensive areas: orthopedics, neurology, cardiopulmonary, wound care, sports medicine, and a number of others. We order diagnostic imaging and, as appropriate, refer patients to many other healthcare practitioners to provide the patient the most efficient pathway to healing. These versatile roles that physical therapists have really contribute to our value in the underserved community. PTs are also skilled in pain science education, and we can be a powerful alternative to opioids for patients that are in pain. All of these things make us an ideal profession to add to this loan repayment bill. I'm certainly here to support the amendment to AB 269 to add PTs to the list of providers. I'm
sorry, ma'am, that is your 2 minutes.
Oh, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
If we could move on to the next person in Las Vegas, thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the committee. My name is Michelle Paul, Michelle Paul. I am the University of Nevada, Las Vegas Vice President of Mental and Behavioral Health and the Executive Director of the UNLV Practice Institute of Mental and Behavioral Health. I'm here today to strongly support AB 269, which expands student loan reimbursement to include marriage and family therapists, clinical alcohol and drug counselors, and problem gambling counselors. At UNLV, we take pride in our role within the Nevada system of higher education as trainers of the next generation of mental health professionals. Our accredited marriage and family therapy program at the Kirk Kerkorian School of Medicine, our advanced certificate in addiction studies in the College of Education, and our specialized coursework in research and problem gambling are designed to equip students with the knowledge and clinical skills necessary for licensure or certification in these essential professions. Despite these efforts, as you're aware, Nevada is facing an alarming shortage of mental health providers. To give you some of those exact numbers, according to the Nevada Health Workforce Research Center, our state would need an additional 425 marriage and family therapists and 1,865 substance use, behavioral disorder, and mental health counselors just to meet national per capita averages. One of the most effective policy solutions to addressing workforce shortages is to grow our own, expanding and diversifying the pipeline of qualified professionals through student loan reimbursement and other incentives. As you've heard, this bill corrects an omission in the original legislation, inadvertently leaving out MFTs, alcohol, drug, and problem gambling counselors, despite their equally critical role alongside clinical professional counselors, psychologists, and social workers. By expanding loan reimbursement eligibility, this bill will not only help recruit and retain skilled therapists, it will also strengthen UNLV's ability to serve the state through training them, ensuring that more Nevadans have access to the quality mental health care they desperately need. UNLV is committed to preparing these professionals, and we are proud to support this essential workforce initiative. And on behalf of the amendment, I would also agree with the amendment. Thank you, and appreciate your time.
Thank you. If we could have the next person in Las Vegas, please.
Hello, thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Dr. Jennifer Nash, and I have been a physical therapist for 26 years, practicing in Nevada for the past 16 years. I serve as the Secretary of APTA Nevada, the professional association, and I am the past president of the Nevada Physical Therapy Board. Additionally, I am an associate professor in the Department of Physical Therapy at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, where we graduate 48 doctors of physical therapy each year. Student debt is one of the most significant concerns for my students and new graduates. The cost of earning a doctorate in physical therapy is substantial, and with decreasing reimbursement rates, many new physical therapists struggle to pay off their loans on entry-level salaries. Unfortunately, physical therapists have no access to federal or state loan repayment programs, unlike many other health care professionals. One thing that is often overlooked is that PT plays critical roles in the lives of patients recovering from life-altering conditions. We treat individuals with cerebral palsy, Parkinson's disease, spinal cord injuries, traumatic brain injuries, stroke, burn injuries, and more. These patients rely on physical therapy not just for their mobility, but for their independence and quality of life. PTs are first-line providers in the rehabilitation, helping them regain strength, balance, and function, ultimately reducing long-term healthcare costs and improving outcomes. Nevada's need to attract and retain physical therapists. Workforce shortages persist, and states that offer loan repayment incentives will be more competitive in attracting PTs to areas of need. New workforce data underscores this growing gap. In 2022, there were approximately 234,000 full-time physical therapists nationwide, yet the demand already exceeds the supply by over 12,000 physical therapists, FTEs. By 2037, this shortfall is expected to continue, with the demand outpacing supply by over 9,000 FTEs.
Thank
The
you.
majority of our graduates want to stay in Nevada, but they also need financial incentive to do so. And without access to loan repayment programs, they may be drawn to other states offering better
Thank you. That
financial
has, I'm
support.
sorry, that is the 2 minutes. Thank you. I appreciate your time. We will need to move to Carson City and do 5 minutes up here in Carson City. And then if we have time, we'll go back to Las Vegas. So here in Las Vegas, please, again, I'm sorry, still on daylight savings time. Sorry, Las Vegas, we're going to go up to Carson City. And please, again, if you are repeating something someone has already said, please say ditto. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair Considine, Vice Chair Nguyen, members of the committee. My name is Wesley Harper. I am the Director of Government Affairs for the City of North Las Vegas. We greatly support this bill. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Alex Tanchek with Service State Government Relations, representing Vitality Unlimited. Vitality operates certified community behavioral health clinics and residential substance use disorder treatment centers in Elko and in Dayton and here in Carson. So Vitality has that firsthand experience with the challenges of recruiting drug and alcohol counselors in rural Nevada. Vitality wants to extend our appreciation to Assemblymember De Silva for bringing this forward and encourage your support. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair, committee members. Tori Supple for the record. Our agenda partners testifying on behalf of Southern Nevada Health District. SNHD supports AB 269 with a conceptual amendment. We want to thank the bill sponsor for bringing this forward and Eric Jimenez from the Treasurer's Office for including public health workers in the proposed amendment. This is a tool that will help address staffing gaps, ultimately improving access to care, enhance delivery of public health services, and improved community health outcomes. Thank you.
There it is. It's on, right? Okay, sorry. My name is Lillian Wyszynski, and I am the Dean of the School of Social Work at the University of Nevada, Reno. I have 50 social work students standing outside with us to support this bill. Social work, I know, is already a recipient of this wonderful bill, and I'm here to support my colleagues in the passage of this for them as well, since it is a tool that we've been able to use to expand our workforce. And so I'm here in support of the bill. We have 300 graduates every year from our program and 800 students. And so it's really important that this program is in place. Thank you so much.
Hello, good morning. Can you all hear me? Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the committee. My name is Dr. Eugenia Weiss, Eugenia Weiss. I'm Associate Dean of the School of Social Work, and I'm here to support AB 269 and to support the additional helping professions for this student loan reimbursement. I would like the committee to also consider expanding the funding in the future to ensure that our pipeline of the workforce of our allied professions will be able to benefit from this bill. Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the committee. My name is Dr. Jennifer Ross. For the record, I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, a licensed clinical alcohol and drug counselor, an approved supervisor for both boards, and also the current sitting chair of the Board of Examiners for marriage and family therapists and clinical professional counselors. I'm here this morning representing CASAT, an independent center within the School of Public Health, the only center of its kind in the state. We have over 800 students enrolled in our substance abuse prevention programs, and so one of the largest pipelines in the state for that license. Our reach extends across urban, frontier, rural, and remote communities throughout Nevada, giving us insight into the critical workforce development needs that we have. I would just echo and voice my appreciation for the statistics that Dr. Paul has made and the introduction by Dr. Hunt. And what I will add to that is after a master's degree, when you are seeking an advanced license, there are costs between $10,000 to $15,000 for internship, and interns postgraduate are often given the most challenging caseloads and paid the least. And so when you put all of that together, we have higher attrition rates and longer internships, slowing down the pipeline of professionals. So thank you very much, and we are very much in support of these amendments.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Megan Komlossy, COMLOSSY, Director of Public Affairs and Policy for the UNR School of Public Health. Thanks to the bill sponsor and the Treasurer's Office for bringing this bill, as well as the proposed amendment. The School of Public Health is here in support of the amendment to expand the HEALS program to public health professionals who, like physicians and other direct care providers, contribute to improved health outcomes, reduced healthcare costs, and enhanced community wellness. Ultimately, this program and the expansion of loan repayment will help attract and retain public health professionals in governmental public health agencies. Their loan and student debts may not be as large as physicians. They're also not as paid as much as physicians. So this will help improve our state's healthcare infrastructure and preparedness. Thank you.
And I'm sorry, that is the 5 minutes in Carson City. We're going to go to the phones. If the phones are less than 5 minutes, we'll come back. So AVH, is there anyone on the phones in support of AB 269?
To testify in support of Assembly Bill 269, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue.
Good morning. Thank you so much for hearing me today. My name is Stephanie Goodman. I am the Executive Director of the Dr. Robert Hunter International Problem Gambling Center here in Nevada. We are the largest center in Nevada and on the West Coast. We are experiencing a dire issue because we don't have enough problem gambling counselors to serve our population. Right now, we're helping less than 1% of our population. And 20 years ago, when they did a prevalence study, we had a 6% prevalence of problem gambling in our state. I would ask that I do support this bill. I think it's vital for us to get more people in the workforce, and being able to repay this is really a great advantage for individuals who are looking to go into problem gambling counseling. Thank you.
Chair, we have no additional callers in support at this time.
Okay, if there's anyone in Las Vegas, if you want to come to the table, again, if there's anyone here in Carson City in support, we have just a few minutes. So if you want to come in, put your name on the record and say ditto, we can get some more people on the record. Otherwise, please, if you have not, submit your written testimony to the committee within 24 hours of the hearing. Go ahead.
Good morning. I'm here on behalf of the Nevada Public Health Association, the Nevada Primary Care Association. My name is Sabrina, Sabrina, Schnur. NPHA, both organizations are in support of this expansion, first of all. NPHA especially supports the proposed amendment to include public health professionals, and we appreciate the inclusion of these important pillars in our healthcare community. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Amy Hines-Sutherland, Hyne-Sutherland. I am the Health and Human Services Manager for the Nevada Association of Counties. NACO supports the amendment to AB 269 to include governmental public health professionals for the reasons stated by prior supporters. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair Considine, members of the committee. For the record, my name is Nick Schneider, Director of Government Affairs for the Vegas Chamber. And for the sake of brevity, we're also in support. Thank you so much.
Good morning, Chair, members of the committee. For the record, Alejandra Rodriguez, Nevada System of Higher Education, and she's also in strong support of this bill. Thank you.
Kent Irvin, ERVIN, Nevada Faculty Alliance. Our members and their families desperately need more of these providers.
Hello, Carissa Pierce with Children's Advocacy Alliance, and we are in strong support of this bill. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Michael, M-I-C-H-A-E-L, Berry, B-E-R-R-Y. I'm here for Advocacy Day with the School of Social Work from UNR, and I just want to support this bill. As someone who has personally gotten their life saved by someone who is in this profession, I just want to say how important it is for the funding to be expanded and for their jobs to be secure. We know that they're not in it really just for the money. The heart that it takes to do what they do is beyond compare. So thank you so much.
Hello, my name is Rachel Jasper. I'm here with the School of Social Work at UNR, and I just want to express my, I just am here to support this bill.
Hello, my name is Madeline DeLuna. I'm here with the School of Social Work, and I want to express the importance of supporting this bill.
Thank you. And then if we can go to the gentleman in Las Vegas.
Yes, hello, Chair Considine and committee members. Thank you. My name is Sean Ellis. I'm a physical therapist of 35 years. I've been in Nevada since 2011. I'm the vice president of Nevada APTA, but really I'm also, my day job is I'm one of the market managers for Dignity Health Physical Therapy, which provides physical therapy services to the Las Vegas area. And I just want to speak as an employer of physical therapists and others in the allied professions. You know, the cost of education and the low reimbursement in the state of Nevada really puts a challenge on us as employers to be able to recruit and retain. I think this bill really helps address some of those issues, especially in the underserved areas where it's even doubly more difficult to recruit and retain. So thank you very much. And I'd like to also thank Assemblymember De Silva for supporting this bill, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, and that is the 15 minutes for support. If you were unable to testify, please submit your testimony in writing to the committee within 24 hours. We will now move on to opposition. If there is anyone in Carson City who wishes to testify in opposition to AB 269, please come up to the table. If there is anyone in Las Vegas wishing to testify in opposition to Assembly Bill 269 in Las Vegas, please come up to the table. Seeing none in either room, AVH, is there anyone on the line in opposition to AB 269?
To testify in opposition of Assembly Bill 269, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. Chair, we have no callers wishing to testify in opposition.
Thank you. We will now move to neutral. Is there anyone in Carson City who would like to testify in neutral to Assembly Bill 269? Seeing no one approach, is there anyone in Las Vegas wishing to testify in neutral to Assembly Bill 269? Seeing no one approach, AVH, is there anyone on the line wishing to testify in neutral in Assembly Bill 269?
To testify in neutral for Assembly Bill 269, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. Chair, we have no callers wishing to testify in neutral.
Thank you. Would the presenter like to come up for any final remarks?
Thank you, Chair, Vice Chair, and Committee for working on this bill with us and hearing us out today. We continue to look forward to working with other stakeholders in the community as we develop a plan of action to address this most dire need in our state. Thank you.
And that was Ruben De Silva for the record. Thank you. I will now close the hearing. On Assembly Bill 269, and we'll open the hearing on Assembly Bill 145, which revises provisions relating to veterans. Assembly Member De Silva, please go ahead when you're ready and introduce your co-presenter.
Ruben De Silva for the record. Before I get started, I just wanted to acknowledge my co-sponsor, Assemblymember Ken Gray, who's not here today because of a family situation. So I'm making this statement, this opening remark on behalf of both of us. Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, and committee members. My name is Assemblymember Ruben De Silva. I am a combat wounded veteran of the United States Marine Corps. I received both the Purple Heart as well as the Navy Achievement Medal for my service in the Iraq War. I'm also a disabled veteran. I can't use my left arm because of a gunshot wound I sustained from a sniper in Fallujah. My esteemed colleague and co-sponsor, Assemblymember Ken Gray, is a 26-year veteran of the United States Air Force who saw global service, finding himself in the Middle East, Europe, and South America, among other places. He is also a disabled veteran. I would also like to express my gratitude to the other remaining veteran in the Nevada Legislature, Senator Cruz Crawford, an officer in the Nevada Guard, and also, though not a veteran, to Senator Roberta Lang, a longtime champion of Nevada vets. Both are also co-sponsoring this crucial piece of legislation, which aims to safeguard and enhance the lives of our fellow veterans. All the veterans currently serving in this legislature support Assembly Bill 145. This bill presents a significant step forward in improving the services and opportunities available to veterans across our state. It stands as a testament to our state's unwavering commitment to honor and support those of us who have served our nation. Very quickly, I do want to discuss the amendment that we put in place very, very fast. We've sought to strike out Section 3. This is now the provision for spousal internment. This is because we know we have to be a little bit careful with our fiscal situation in this legislative session. We did receive some analysis that it would cost anywhere from $600,000 to potentially $2 million as a fiscal effect, so we are removing that provision from the bill. And we're also adding, as you can see in the amendment, the second portion there, some language that would allow organizations and veterans and anybody who wants to help with claims preparations, if they want to do this cost-free, they are not going to be subject to the regulations we're trying to place forth in Section 1. This is coming from the congressional offices, many of the county VSOs, so on and so forth, who offer these services for free already. They just wanted to have that extra protection in the amendment. And also, I want to thank Assembly Members O'Neill, Dickman, and our very own Jackson for also adding their names as co-sponsors to this bill. Now, I will very quickly walk you through the key provisions of this omnibus bill. It's a five-part bill. One, teethed prohibition of unauthorized services. This bill ensures that only individuals who are recognized and accredited can provide services related to veterans' benefits. This measure is vital in protecting us from potential fraud and abuse and ensures that we as veterans receive the highest quality assistance and are protected while doing so. My co-presenter, Mr. Fred Wager, will be discussing this section in more detail, and this is the reason why everybody is here today. It's Section 1. All right, so number 2, veteran hiring and mentor programs. AB 145 mandates the creation of a veteran hiring program and a peer mentor program. These initiatives are essential for the recruitment, retention, and professional development of veterans and their families, offering meaningful employment opportunities and robust support networks. We have Mr. Doug Williams from the Nevada Department of Administration, the HR Division, on standby in Vegas to help answer any questions about this section. And then lastly, annual permits for state parks. This legislation extends the issuance of free annual permits for entry into state parks and recreational areas to Gold Star family members. This provision acknowledges the sacrifices made by veterans and their families, providing them with opportunities for recreation and relaxation. And to wrap up my remarks here, opening remarks quickly before I hand it off here to Mr. Wager, this bill came from the community. So those of you who are not maybe familiar with the process, especially within the veterans legislative sort of process, there's two symposiums that are held, one in Reno and one in Las Vegas. It's called the Nevada Legislative Veterans Symposium. And all the veterans organizations, all the advocates, anybody interested in veterans issues comes to these, and they're pretty well attended. And they will then provide a list of issues that they want us as the legislature to address. I believe this the last symposium brought about like 67 or 68 different items, and I brought in 5 of those to this bill. The number one issue, by the way, was the addressing the claim shark problem, the claim representative issue. That was the number one, by and large, coming from pretty much every single veterans advocacy organization and network within our state. And that's a good segue now to Mr. Wager, who's going to be discussing the Section 1 of this amendment, of this bill. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Fred Wager, for the record, F-R-E-D-W-A-G-A-R, Chair Constantine, Vice Chair Wynn, and members of the Assembly Government Affairs Committee. For the, I'm representing the disabled, I'm sorry, let me start again. I'm a little, I think the time thing is getting to me. But I represent the Veterans of Foreign Wars in the southern part of the state as the state legislative chair in the south. And I also represent the disabled American veterans as their benefits protection or legislative team lead as well. And this is their members and their dependents, about 39,000 members and dependents. I want to thank you for allowing me to assist in presenting Assembly Bill 145, which VFW and DAV strongly support. Especially the other sections that he addressed. I am an Army service-connected disabled veteran, and I'm very proud of Assemblyman De Silva and Assemblyman Gray for their sponsorship and the leadership of this bipartisan bill. Before I begin my testimony, I would like to thank the 33 VFW posts and the 5 DAV chapters throughout the state. There are 14 VFW posts and 5 DAV chapters serving the communities within the legislative districts of the members in just this committee. And I hope if you haven't already, you get a chance to stop by and visit those posts and chapters. Madam Chair and members of this committee, VFW and DAV fully support the issues that Assemblyman De Silva and Assemblyman Gray have moved forward with AB 145. The issue I want to address is Section 1 under AB 145. A person shall not prepare, present, prosecute, advise, or counsel or assist any other person with a claim before the United States Department of Veterans Affairs or the United States Department of Defense in violation of 38 U.S.C. or 38 CFR unless the person has been recognized or accredited by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs to perform such activities. Simply put, AB 145 strengthens NRS 417.133, which is already law. That currently does not allow anyone to receive compensation for advising and assisting another person with a matter relating to veterans' benefits, except as authorized under Title 38 USC. There are bad actors who simply ignore NRS, passed by previous legislatures right here in this building. Veterans benefit services are offered by state veteran services throughout the nation at federally chartered veteran service organizations, accredited service officers, accredited lawyers, and accredited claims agents. The key word here is accredited. AB 145 would create language that is even stronger than current language in NRS 417 and ensures that the Attorney General has the ability to recover civil penalties for disregarding this law. Accredited service organizations chartered by Congress, like VFW and DAV, and others, are forbidden to charge fees. They're chartered by Congress and they cannot charge fees. In 2006, when the VA began allowing lawyers and claims agents to become accredited. They removed the penalties for these accredited lawyers and claims agents, as they now allowed them to charge fees under very specific VA regulations. These regulations stated that these accredited lawyers and claims agents could assess a fee of 20% on retroactive benefits, but no future benefits. They could only receive these fees if a veteran's claim was denied and then was later granted under appeal under the assistance of those lawyers or claims agents. Since these rules were already spelled out, there was an assumption that no penalties were needed otherwise. At the time, no one realized that we would have individuals starting companies to take advantage of the lack of penalties. The law didn't go away, just the penalties. The law is still on the books. That's why we're working with Congress to reinstate the penalties for just this kind of behavior. Accredited VSOs, lawyers, and claims agents, by being accredited, assume the responsibility of ensuring there is no fraud or misrepresentation in the appeals they submit, because they submit a form stating they are the accredited representative for that veteran. In other words, if there's misrepresentation, the VA is going to come back on the accredited representative. With a claim shark, there's no formal representation to the VA. Claim shark's fees and actions have no government oversight. Now, if they became accredited, there would be oversight. Madam Chair and members of the committee, you will likely hear from these claim sharks. You may even hear from veterans who have used them, and they use the argument that they should have the choice to pick who they want and decide if they want to spend the money to use these claim sharks. There is no argument, none, that they should not be allowed to have choice. It's the fact that they've been convinced that they should be allowed to use a corporation who's disregarding the law. And that's the key element here. They say they get faster and better results, and the principal lure is VA is processing claims faster. The claims don't get done any faster whether you're using a claim shark or an accredited. So that's a falsity that they put forth. Madam Chair and members of the Government Affairs Committee, no matter what you hear from the claim sharks, their lobbyists, or those who support these claim sharks, I would ask you to always keep in mind what claim sharks are doing with charging fees to veterans for medical counseling or coaching for veterans wishing to submit a claim that is to the VA that actions are simply illegal. We have provided a one-pager regarding those references to NRS and 38 USC 38 CFR for your review. Claim sharks would like to see legislators change the law in their favor. I would simply ask, do we ever in this state want to be seen as assisting in changing laws that would reward them from breaking the law that they're doing now? Or do the legislators want to strengthen Nevada's laws to ensure claim shark behavior does not continue? VFW and DAV would ask that you strengthen the laws. I will tell you that we've had one group that's here, and they have spent with another group just in 2024, $1,730,000 on lobbyists to try and get you to change your mind. And we don't have those funds. I wish I did. We want you to make sure that these veterans and dependents don't get charged exorbitant fees. And that's why we're here today. I want to note we welcome anyone to the state, anyone who wants to assist veterans and their dependents. And we'd like to thank the many individuals and organizations that just do that, accredited or not. We have volunteer groups in this state who are reaching out, and they do a great job as well, but they don't charge a dime. On behalf of Nevada Departments of VFW and DAV, we ask that you support and vote for AB 145. I want to thank Assemblyman De Silva, Assemblyman Gray, Senator Cruz Crawford, and Senator Roberto Lang, and I understand we have new sponsors as well, so Assemblyman Jackson, and if I missed somebody up there, I apologize, for being sponsors of this bipartisan bill to protect our veterans from claim sharks who wish to disregard state and federal regulations. I want to mention one other thing. As you can see, we have a bunch of blue shirts behind us, and I welcome them. I'm glad they're here. I will tell you that they're here because they think they're going to lose their job if this bill goes through. We're not trying to force anybody out. We're just trying to get their bosses to follow the law, and that's all there is to it. So I thank you for your time, and we certainly hope you will support and pass AB 145, and I stand for questions.
Thank you for the presentation. Before we move on to questions, if there's any standing vets that need to sit down, if we could please prioritize any standing vets being able to take a chair. Thank you. And then the presenters, I do have a question. I have several amendments that I've received. Could you please just confirm that the conceptual amendments are the ones with your letterhead, or if there are any other amendments you are accepting?
Ruben De Silva for the record. Thus far, Chair, we're only accepting the conceptual amendment that I presented. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I believe we can now move on to committee member questions. Our first question is from Assemblymember Goulding.
Thank you, Chair. VBG has done an impressive job of organizing their employees to email committee members and to show up here today. And I'm wondering if you have any idea what the annual gross revenue is, VBG's annual gross revenue is.
Fred Wagger for the record, Madam Chair, if I can go direct. Okay. Thank you for the question, Assemblymember. We do not. In fact, they were just asked that at a committee hearing in Washington, D.C. Last Wednesday, and they said we're a private company and they were going to answer that. So they did not get that answer.
Thank you. Our next question is from Assemblymember Hunt.
Thank you, Chair. And thank you for bringing this bill. And I want to thank every veteran in here for their service. I mean, that's huge. My question is, what has the federal government done regarding predatory actions?
Thank you for the question, Fred Wagger for the record. There has been 2 warnings out from the Benefits Protection Bureau, or I'm misstating the name, and the VA itself have put out warnings against predatory actions, these actors that are doing this. And so they've been doing that, as well as a bill in Congress that was just heard. In fact, that's what the hearing was about, was predatory actions on last Wednesday's VA subcommittee bill. And they, lost my train of thought, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, what was the question? Oh, what's the federal government doing? And so they are trying to pass a bill to reinstate. I mentioned that the penalties went away because they didn't think they'd need them anymore. And now they're realizing, yeah, we do. And so there is a bill in Congress. And last session, that was co-sponsored by our own Nevada representatives, Congresswoman Titus and Congressman Horsford. So there's a lot of action happening right now, and it's the strongest I've ever seen it. So we're hoping that with, states can tend to move a little faster than the federal government. And so we want to make sure we get this passed, so until the federal government reinstates those penalties, we'll have things protected here in Nevada.
So Ruben De Silva for the record. Thank you for the question, Assemblymember. Just to give some context on this matter. So, the penalties were taken away in around the year 2006, 2007. This is actually when I was in Iraq. Back then, the VA did have tremendous issues in dealing with these claims. They were taking years, 3 years. We've significantly now minimized that. Now it's a matter of maybe 80 to 100, 120 days. That's what the VA is averaging. But on the same token, we've also seen the rise of these private enterprises, these companies who are working within the shadow of the law, who have become gargantuan. They're not cottage industry, small business-oriented companies anymore. They're breaking in hundreds of millions of dollars on an annual basis, hundreds of millions. So, and there really isn't any sort of regulatory process. The GUARD Act, the SAVE Act, the PLUS Act, these are the different sort of pieces of legislation that the federal government is working on to address this issue. I myself, and many veterans in this state felt that because of the lack of action at the congressional level, we needed to put the safeguards in place here in the state to actually address this issue, while Congress in the end deals with the ultimate question, the ultimate resolution, which will have to happen at the federal level. This is inherently a federal issue. I just want to clarify that. Thank you.
Okay, our next question is from Assemblymember Nguyen.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for meeting with me prior to this hearing, as well as a couple of other stakeholders. I want to make sure that we definitely protect all the good actors and all of the folks who are dedicating their resources to our, very vulnerable communities. So are we thinking about working with the State Department of Veteran Affairs to considering some sort of a licensing process or accrediting process that is state mandated, state driven, so that we can be able to collaborate within the State Department, VA, and all these great organizations that provide the services, so that we can ensure that folks are familiarized, because all these vetted organizations, obviously like a licensing types of group, would help the consumer and all the veterans be aware of who's vetted and who's not.
Fred Weiger for the record. Thank you for that, Vice Chair. It would be interesting to look at. Here's the issue that I see. And this was just recently brought up by one of the Shark representatives. And I have a little problem with this, because all of a sudden you're going to have 50 states going, okay, they're accredited in our state. Well, first of all, there's no such thing as state accreditation at this point. And ultimately, it has to be federally, it's the VA. VA accredits the agents who are going to come forward. And they say, well, we don't need to be accredited because we're not really veteran lawyers or claims agents. Well, you're doing everything up to the veteran putting in the claim. And ultimately, they let the veteran put in the claim, and if there's any issue with the claim, it's on the veteran. With an accredited service officer from the VA, you have a responsibility to ensure everything's correct. If you have 50 states doing 50 different accreditations, that would be a huge problem, and that's why we have one central location for doing accreditation, if that answers your question.
Ruben De Silva for the record. Thank you, Vice Chair Nguyen, for the question. So this is, we sought to look at this as a potential compromise. And the challenge that I ran into, this was also brought up to me yesterday. I did reach out to the director of the Nevada Department of Veteran Service to get some sort of insight. The problem is that we have a federal law that says that the actions that are being now done here in regards to representing or coaching or consulting, they're questionable. And that they're illegal if you are representing a veteran and then charging a vet for the initial claim. So, and we get that. The law is very clear at the federal level. It's also very clear in NRS. I want you to be mindful of that. So we looked at potentially creating now a state-based accreditation program. I asked Colonel Devine, the executive director. She couldn't be here today because she's in Winnemucca honoring a 104-year-old woman veteran. So she gave me some quick insight. Again, this is not binding or anything. I just want to let you know what she told me in our conversation. She said that the issue is that you have a federal agency, the VA, and you have a federal mandate. That if we try to create a state accreditation program, and again, we do have counsel, you could probably guide us on this question, that the federal law would supersede our own law. What she recommended me to do was to pass a bill that would force accreditation at the federal level, and then we could have a subsidiary, a secondary state accreditation to add even stronger protections, even stronger sort of safeguards for our veterans and for the businesses that are operating in that space. So that was the recommendation that was made to me, but I don't know if you could get maybe some sort of analysis on that question of a state versus federal accreditation.
Thank you, Chair. Sarah DeLapp, Committee Counsel. So for that element of it, there would need to be
analysis into preemption, so I'd have to look more into Nevada creating their own separate system. But for the purposes of the bill, this section and section 1, it does not appear that the federal government has expressly preempted states from enacting laws that would include a penalty for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. We will move on to our next question, which is from Assemblymember Gallant.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for bringing this bill, and thank you for everybody coming out and taking time out of your busy schedules and for your services. Just, you know, to open up, I'm a little uncomfortable with this bill because we're essentially pitting vets against vets. Doesn't seem like everybody's on the same page based on the amount of emails that I've gotten over the last week or so. But just for clarification, Mr. Wagner, is it your position that no company may charge for helping vets with initial claims, no matter how good or bad they may be, or no matter whether they are accredited or not? And if that is the case, who do you think is going to help these vets wind through the red tape and the bureaucracy that government loves to impose and make things very complicated for everybody if all of these companies exit the market?
Fred Wagner, for the record, thank you for the question. These companies currently are not accredited, so they cannot charge. They shouldn't be charging. And is there a backlog? That's what you want to hear. That's what other people want to say, that, oh, there's a huge backlog. Yes, the PACT Act was passed. The VA hired a lot of employees to help take care of that. I do know that there's going to be a request for additional service officers within the state as well. And you have veterans who will do it for free as well. We've got 2 groups down in Las Vegas, and they see hundreds of veterans every month. And so to say, oh, we have to be here to handle the surge in veterans isn't exactly a correct statement in my book. I think it could be handled. We've gone through this before. It's an ebb and flow kind of thing, and we've gone through it with the Vietnam vets when the laws were passed to increase the number of disabilities at the time, and we got through it. The backlog, and I will be honest, I used to work for the VBA. I was a raider, and I know of the backlog. I was there during that time, but slowly but surely they got the backlog through. And honestly, right now, as the Assemblyman said, we're talking 90 to 120 days for a claim through. And so there isn't a huge backlog. In fact, getting the evidence and all that's part of that, and that's part of the 90 to 120 days. And so for anybody to insinuate that to you that, oh, we're gonna have this huge backlog, and I know you got a ton of emails, and a lot of those people are sitting in the room behind us. The employees wrote, and good on them. I mean, they were encouraged to do so, and they did that. But the veterans wrote as well, and the veterans understand what can happen when you allow people to just disregard the law, and that's what's happening right now.
Ruben De Silva, for the record. Assemblymember, I just also want to directly answer that veterans are pitted against veterans. Okay, when it all boils down to it, here we have, let me show you some of the supporters of this bill. Here in Nevada, the VFW, the Disabled American Veterans of Nevada, the American Legion, the Vietnam Vets of America, the Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans of America, the Military Order of the Purple Heart. These are our veterans organizations, the organizations that for decades have served as a voice of veterans in the state. And on the other side, you have a business. You have businesses who, again, are working within the shadowy aspects of the law in areas that are gray. And I think, again, we do need, again, I want to reiterate the stress for federal legislation to finally deal with this issue. It's caused a problem. This isn't veteran versus veteran. This is a business that is making money by charging veterans to represent them or to work on their cases during compensation processes, which are now, in some instances, forbidden by the federal government. And on the other token, you have veterans organizations who do this work for free and also want to mandate that if you are going to charge, just get accredited. You know, the initial claim in the end is one that there's strict guidelines on that you cannot charge veterans. But everything else, all the red tape that you're talking about, and I'm speaking as somebody who's been through this process many times. The red tape isn't at the initial claims process. It's secondary. After your claim gets pushed back to you, gets kicked back, then you got to go in front of a board. You got to represent yourself in more formal arenas. That's the red tape, and you can charge. You can do that. This business is not going to go away. That's what we mean by the accreditation process. Once you're accredited, you then are subject to strong oversight. You can process a claim. You can be a power of attorney for a veteran. You can help that veteran navigate the difficult, complex, Byzantine, gargantuan sort of a situation it is sometimes to be in a claims process. That's all we're asking for in this bill. This is not veterans versus veterans, Assembly Member. This is really a sort of a protection that we want to see in place for safe practice, for best practices, and to allow our veterans and know surely that they're safe and secure while they're navigating this process and not being taken advantage of. Because right now it is a complete Wild West, and we want to bring some measures in place to protect our vets. Thank you.
Fred Weiger, for the record, if I could just clarify one more thing, and that is, if you're a lawyer in the state, you got to be accredited. If you're a teacher in the state, you got to be accredited. If you're a barber in the state, you got to be accredited. If you're going to help veterans and you're going to represent them and to the VA, you should be accredited.
We want to make sure we have enough time for 15 minutes in support and 15 minutes in opposition, and we have floor at 11. We have 2 more questions. If we could get those questions asked and answered quickly. Our next question is from Assemblymember Karras.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for this great presentation and for the service of all of you with the many branches represented here. My question is this. Assemblymember Gallant's right. We've all received many letters, emails. Most of mine seem to be copy and pasted, and they're really concerned with taking away a veteran's ability to choose. Would the restrictions, or what restrictions would be placed on veterans if 145 passes?
Fred Weiger, for the record, short answer, none. No restrictions on the veterans. They have the right to choose. We're asking them to choose between legal entity and legal entity, not legal and somebody not following regulations.
Assemblymember Ruben De Silva, for the record. Again, there's no curtailing of choice in this bill. There are many different VSOs who are operating here. There are many different folks. Congressional offices do a great job. I went to U.S. Senator Harry Reid. I got my claim through, and my percentage went up, way up. So there are many different choices there. And if you do have a problem, you can go to one of these companies and have them represent you during the appeal process. There's no denying that. It's just that we would like to see them accredited. The VA has strongly put guidelines out there to veterans saying, watch out for these sort of organizations. Right now, there's no sort of regulations, there's no sort of structures, no sort of safeguards in place. This bill is trying to address that issue by mandating accreditation at the federal level. That would end the problem right then and there. And then when it comes to the initial claim, the veteran would put that initial claim in. If it's kicked back, and most do, then you have the choice to go to a company or a business that you can pay for, for that service. So this is not putting anybody out of business. This law, from our reading into it, is not going to destroy an industry. It's actually going to safeguard veterans and also give the consumer the actual safety, the understanding that they are now in a arena where they are protected and where they're safe and they have recourse. If there is fraud, if there is a company that does the veteran wrong, there's recourse and there's a way of taking action against those individuals who do our veterans wrong. Thank you.
Thank you. A question from Assemblymember Jackson.
Thank you, Chair. My question is, how do organizations, accredited or not, how do they track a veteran's claim?
Fred Weiger, for the record. It's a program, VBMS, I believe is the title of it, that accredited organizations will have, that gets all the letters that the veteran gets or gets notified, those letters in there, and then they can steer the veteran in the right way on how to respond, and sometimes a VA letter doesn't need a response at all, but they track it that way. The claim sharks do not have that same access, but they do get access to the veteran's personal records, Social Security numbers, medical records, and all of that, and they have their own system and track when the bills or when the veterans get an increase, and that's how they charge them. That's my understanding. They could tell you different.
Ruben De Silva for the record. Thank you for the question, Assembly Member. Again, Mr. Wager here brought up a very important topic that this bill will address. That's also the amount of personal information that's just out there, randomly out there. We don't have any sort of a way of understanding what's going on. Accreditation would solve that problem. Thank you.
Thank you. And we have time for one last quick question. Assemblymember Kasama.
Thank you. Very quick question. Where would I go to see if an organization was accredited? Is that on the federal website? And also, thank you to all our veterans for your service, too. Thank you so much.
Fred Wager for the record. There is a website, and I don't have it in my head, but I will get that to the committee, if that's okay. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for that presentation. We would now like to move on to support, opposition, and neutral. We will start in Carson City for support. Again, we have 15 minutes for support and 15 minutes for opposition. If someone has said something that you are saying, please feel free to say ditto. We will do 5 minutes in Carson City, move to Las Vegas for 5 minutes, then the phones. If there is time left over, we will come back to Carson City. Please go ahead when you're ready.
Good morning, Chair Considine, Vice Chair Nguyen, members of the committee. My name is Wesley Harper. I am the Director of Government Affairs for the City of North Las Vegas. We are in support of this bill. The City of North Las Vegas has a demonstrated commitment to supporting all veterans. 17,642 veterans live in North Las Vegas, and we are home to the only jurisdictional veteran-focused center in Southern Nevada. The Veteran Community and Resource Center provides comprehensive support for veterans and their families, and I'm happy to share the details about the center at the committee's request. Again, we are in support. Thank you very much.
All right. Chairwoman Considine, Vice Chairman Nguyen. My name is Norman Allen. I'm a member of the Board of Directors for the United Veterans Legislative Council. I served in Vietnam as an infantryman with the United States Marine Corps. I've been an attorney for 40 years. 30 of those years have been with the Office of the Nevada Attorney General as a Deputy Attorney General, and I've been a claims attorney accredited by the Veterans Administration for about 9 years. So what I thought I'd do in this brief time here is to discuss what I picked up on my search. This is a complaint filed with the Texas Attorney General's office on claim sharks. Right now there's a lawsuit going through the Texas courts on this particular matter. One of the items I pulled from it was a contract that was initiated by the claim sharks with a veteran. They've styled this thing as a membership agreement. These various agreements are put in different contexts depending on what they want to do. It's an 11-page contract, and it's with the VA Claims Insider. I'll supplement my testimony with this contract. But I thought I'd hit on 3 provisions in this contract which might indicate to you what's going on. The first one, this is, I'll just read it here. Because the Claims Insider does not assist clients with the preparation, presentation, prosecution of the disability claims for VA benefits and does not provide legal advice, Claims Insider recommends that the client employ an accredited VSO, VA claims agent, or a claims attorney to assist the client with the preparation, presentation, prosecution of his disability claims. So
I'm
that
sorry,
indicates
Mr.
what's happening.
Allen,
There is a
that is your
definite
2
separation.
minutes. I'm so sorry, that is your 2 minutes of testimony. I need to, sorry.
So,
You put it in, it's attached as exhibits.
no, this is not an attachment. I was going to supplement my testimony with this document
If you would like.
and this complaint if you want it.
If
All
you
right?
would like to give a copy of that to the committee secretary, we can put it into exhibits, but for support, I need to move on to reach as many people as we can. I'm sorry. If the next one in support would like to, if you'd like to go ahead.
Chair and committee members, my name is Andrew LaPelbit. Many of you have known me for years. I'm here representing the United Veterans Legislative Council for the state of Nevada. I am the current chairman of that group. And as my good friend here announced, he's on our board of directors as well, helping us. I really have to start with the unusual for me. It's ditto Ruben De Silva, ditto Fred Weiger, with multiples for both of them, and ditto, sadly not enough, but for my great Norman Allen here. I would like to add one other thing in my 2 minutes, is just a correction of the record. Yes, we do bring together veterans throughout the state. I've been doing it for 13 years now. Every off year of the legislature, we have a symposium in the south, a symposium in the north, and we bring together hundreds of people, our veterans, and they tell us what they want us to work on in this house. And they tell us this last time, it was 69, Ruben, if you need the answer. It was 69 items. This item was number 1 by an enormous margin. An enormous margin. That's both in the north and the south in the voting. So I won't go into the individual parts of the bill, but we support this bill 100%. Thank you. Go ahead.
Good morning. My name is Robert Planetta. I am the Senior Vice Commander of the Disabled American Veterans, Chapter 1. I'm founding board member of the Community for Veterans, and I'm a member of the Vietnam Veterans of America. I served 38 years in the military, 28 in the Navy, and then I gave up my retirement and went into the Army National Guard in Nevada here and retired from there. I want to tell you a little bit about being in the service. The moment young men and women put on that uniform, they are preyed on by all kinds of predators. You walk outside any military base, there's used car lots trying to get you to come buy one of their cars. There's payday loan centers. There's title loan centers. I mean, you're just being preyed on. And they know because you don't join the military for the money. You get bills that you gotta shuffle and everything else. When I first joined, I had a wife and a child. I made $8.35 a day. And trying to feed a family and house them on something like that, you just don't need these predators. So that is why, as veterans, we take care of each other so much. Our brothers and sisters, you've been preyed on your whole time in the service. We don't want that to continue when you get out of the service. And that's why we have veteran organizations. And we have veteran service officers who will do your claims for free, no charge. And they're all accredited. Anybody in our organizations that wants to do a claim has to be accredited. That doesn't mean, like the others have testified, that they can't get somebody, whoever they want, to represent them, but it's just up to us to let them know that we're a resource for them out there, and we don't charge. And again, I ditto with everybody who testified before me. Thank you.
We will now need to go to Las Vegas for 5 minutes. If, again, each speaker has no more than 2 minutes, but if what you want to say has been said before, please say ditto so we can get some more folks on the record. And if we could start in the gentleman in the green in Las Vegas.
Good morning, Chair and committee members. My name is Levi Schultz, and I'm the chairman of the Nevada Veterans Caucus. I'm a disabled Navy veteran. The NVC is a nonpartisan organization committed to protecting our veterans by supporting meaningful legislation. The Nevada Veterans Caucus fully supports AB 145 because this bill promotes accountability. This bill is not anti-business, it is pro-accountability. It is my belief when private institutions take on the responsibility of helping veterans navigate the VA system to obtain their well-earned benefits that they should be accredited. When accredited, the organization then has the fiduciary duty to serve the veteran. They can also be legally held accountable when circumstances go awry. We cannot afford to play fast and loose with veterans' care and benefits. As a society, we must ask ourselves a fundamental question. Do we want profit-driven organizations to be less accountable, less educated, and less qualified when handling the well-earned benefits of America's heroes? It is vital that these entities are properly vetted to handle cases that are so sensitive and so significant to our veterans' quality of life. Requiring the qualification of VSOs only forces organizations to uphold the same principles of discipline, dedication, and accountability that the veteran exuded during their service. The ethical and legal requirements ensure that veterans of Nevada are not left holding the debt and legal implications due to error or negligence from the organization. The other provisions are vital to the betterment of veterans and military families' quality of life. I would like to commend Assemblyman De Silva, Ken Gray, Senator Shelley Cruz Crawford, Assemblyman Javon Jackson, and Senator Roberta Lang for supporting this bill. In closing, the Nevada Veterans Caucus strongly supports AB 145 and the betterment of the quality of life of every Nevadan to wear the cloth of this nation. Thank you.
Chairman Constantine and members of the Assembly, my name is David Souza. I'm a 25-year Army retiree. I'm representing the over 8,000 members of our Veterans of Foreign Wars and Auxiliary here in the state of Nevada. I am a combat veteran, disabled veteran, and I got my rating and VA compensation with assistance from the Disabled American Veterans. I am writing to seek your support for AB 145. A crucial bill designated to eliminate the predatory practices that take advantage of our veterans and their families. This also affects our Gold Star families and their survivors. These companies, in recent testimony in Washington, D.C., which I witnessed, they charge, and I quote, 5 times 1 month's VA compensation for a minimum rating. If you look at a veteran that earns 100% VA rating, it's approximately $3,831.30. At 5 times, that is $19,156.50 for approximately 1 hour of time. We feel this is unacceptable, and if they were accredited, it would be regulated by the Veterans Affairs. It is alarming to see accredited agent organizations and individuals charging exorbitant fees for services that should be available for free, in which they are, through accredited veteran service officers, attorneys, and claim agents. Such practices are not only unethical, but also, as stated earlier, violate state and federal regulations, including NRS 417.133 and 38 USC. As a state adjutant for the Veterans Affairs, Veteran of Foreign Wars for Nevada, people say it's hard to accreditate people through the Department of Veteran Affairs. In the testimony the other day, the Department of Veteran Affairs stated that there's always has been and always will be a path for accreditation. The VFW recently accredited 3 claim agents in Clark County in less than 6 months. This can be done, and we encourage support of this bill.
Thank you. That is your 2 minutes. If we can go to the third person in Las Vegas, please.
Yes, my name is Frank Slaughter. I'm a veteran, and I represent District 11 in the state of Nevada for the Nevada Silver Hair Senior Citizens Legislative Forum. Many people in my district are veterans, and they would also support this. I have 2 letters of testimony that I want to read for my time. Okay, one is from Richard Klein, and he states that as an organization that supports veterans and their widows, We are deeply distressed by these businesses that are charging enormous fees to veterans and their widows for something that is free. The next one is from Eric Lund, and he states that his organization takes exception and is against these organizations that charge these fees. He states that, again, organizations and individuals that charge excessive fees and take financial advantages of veterans, widows, and their survivors during the most vulnerable times. And these things have to be stopped. Thank you.
Okay, we will go to the phone lines. AVH, if there's anyone on the phone lines in support of AB 145, if we could get those, please.
To testify in support of Assembly Bill 145, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue.
Hello, Committee Chair. My name is Donna Klontz, and it's spelled DONNACLONTZ. I'm calling as an individual Nevada senior to support AB 145. My family is made of folks who served in the military. My dad put 30 years into the Navy, so I understand what our veterans have done, and I've listened to all the testimony today. I think it makes sense that we support accrediting folks that are helping our veterans apply and be able to get the benefits they deserve. So I appreciate the time to speak to you and urge you to support AB 145. Thank you.
Next caller.
Good morning. This is former Assemblywoman Clara Thomas, CLARATHOMAS. Thank you, Madam Chair and the Government Affairs Committee, and thank you for the presenters of AB 145. I am in strong support of AB 145 as a United States Air Force retired honorably and one of the 17,000 veterans that live in beautiful North Las Vegas. I am in full support of AB 145, and I urge you to pass this great legislation. Thank you.
Thank you. Next caller.
Caller with the last 3 digits 742, you are unmuted. Please go ahead. Caller with the last 3 digits 742, please make sure that you are unmuted on your end. You are unmuted on our end.
Good morning. Thank you. Apologies for the mute. Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the committee. My name is Kara Jenkins, last name Jenkins. I am the Vice Chair of the Nevada Veterans Caucus, and I ditto the support proffered by our Chair, Levi Schultz, in support of AB 145. It's a hard ditto. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next caller.
Caller with the last 3 digits 905, please go ahead.
Morning, Chair and committee. For the record, I'm Evelyn Pacheco. That's EVELYNPACHECO. and I strongly ditto all my veteran comrades, and please support AB 145. Thank you.
Thank you. Next caller, and this will be the last caller. If they could give their name and ditto, that would be great. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. We have no additional callers in support of Assembly Bill 145.
Thank you. I know we have 3 folks sitting here in Carson City, and there was one in Las Vegas. We have about a minute and a half. If you'd like to give your name and to get on the record and say ditto, that would be great. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Travis Armenta, Disabled American Veterans. We strongly support this bill, and thank you for your guys' support.
Lionel Mata with the American Legion, which is the largest veteran service organization in the world. We ditto it.
Connie McMullen, representing the Senior Coalition of Washoe County. We have over 30 members, nonprofit since 1997. We are in full support of this bill. Thank you.
And Las Vegas.
My name is Justin Chavez. I work with ARP Nevada, our veterans program. I'm a disabled veteran myself, and we strongly support this bill, and we feel that it's a testament to Nevada's commitment to its veterans and military families. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for all the support. For those who are unable to testify, please submit your testimony to the committee within 24 hours after the hearing. And we will now move on to opposition. If there's anyone here in opposition that wishes to testify, we will still follow the 15 minutes, 2 minutes each speaker. If someone has said something that you've already said, please feel free to say ditto so that we can get as many people as possible. We will start in Carson City, then move to Las Vegas, then the phone lines. Please go ahead.
Good morning, Chair and committees of the committee. My name is Joshua Smith. I am a Marine Corps veteran and former employee of the VA. I am also the CEO and co-founder of Veteran Benefits Guide, and here today to express my concerns with AB 145 as currently written. VBG provides veterans with a private, legal, and federally compliant service that assists veterans in navigating the VA's disability claims process to help ensure they receive the full benefits that they have all earned. VBG strongly supports Assembly Member De Silva's commitment to protecting our veterans and actually believes that the bill does not go far enough in some areas, as it is absent necessary guardrails, which includes disclosure requirements and a fee cap. However, and most unfortunate, AB 145, as currently written, prohibits the services of honorable for-profit companies like VBG from serving veterans. VBG is based in Nevada, and I am proud to share that we've grown our company to over 200 employees, primarily based in Las Vegas, while successfully assisting thousands of Nevada veterans over the past decade in navigating the VA disability claims process, the majority of whom have used a free nonprofit service. At VBG, our commitment remains unwavering. We put veterans' interests first. All our clients sign a one-page disclosure upfront acknowledging that the free services are available. Unfortunately, the bill as currently written would reduce their freedom of choice and access to veteran services, making it harder for veterans to receive the benefits they have earned. As a member of the Assembly Government Affairs Committee, we urge you to consider our concerns and amend AB 145 so that we can lend our full support. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair and Committee. My name is Carolyn Potter, P-O-T-T-E-R. I am a third-generation native Nevadan, former Deputy Press Secretary for Nevada's most powerful ranking member, the late Senator Majority Leader Harry Reid, and the daughter-in-law of a World War II Navy veteran. I now proudly call VBG home. A home I chose because the mission and values of VBG and its co-founders aligned with my own, helping others. Serving some of Nevada's most disadvantaged and underserved populations during my 12-plus year tenure working with the government, I saw immediately the value of the services VBG provides to the tens of thousands of disabled veterans we have helped. This past year, I've spoken to countless veterans and have heard firsthand that by working with VBG, they were able to stave off homelessness, food insecurity, bankruptcy, and yes, suicide. Their stories are real, and because of our services and their right to choose, their stories get to go on. They were able to finally receive the benefits they earned and so rightfully deserve working with our company. As a native to this great state, I am begging you, please look at all sides of this issue before you render a decision that will affect our veterans perpetually. They are counting on you to do that, and we are counting on you to do that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Chair and Committee. My name is Montrese Hope, Montresehope, and I'm one of the administrative assistants proudly working for Veteran Benefits Guide. When I began my journey at VBG, I wasn't fully aware of how we help veterans. That changed quickly as I received call after call from veterans starting with the phrase, "I need help with my claim." And I was referred to your service. 2 years and thousands of calls later, that hasn't changed. Veteran Benefits Guide continues to positively impact veterans' lives. One of the biggest feelings I get is when a veteran calls to say they received an increase in their rating after trying for years on their own. VBG goes above and beyond by providing information about various community and veteran resources for those in need. I stand behind VBG and the mission to continue to serve as many veterans ask for help, for our help. This is a land based on freedom, and one of those freedoms should be the ability to choose, including the choice to use a service like ours. Please oppose Section 1 of AB 145 bill. Thank you so much for your time.
My name is Robert Kay. Thank you, Chair and members. ROBERTKAY. I'm a case manager at VBG. It's been the most rewarding career I've had, helping veterans and changing their lives. I had a good friend who lives in Las Vegas who was stuck at 90% for years. He worked at the VSO and tried it on his own, decided to give us a try since he doesn't receive a fee from us unless he receives a favorable decision. In a few months, he got his 100% and I wish he came to us a lot sooner. Now, if we're not saying we're better, but we do have a lot more resources and a lot more manpower to really invest in each veteran. Also, if we were so bad, why would so many veterans refer their family members and friends to us? I recently helped 2 brothers in Pahrump and then their father, and now helping one of their best friends who works at Nellis Air Force Base. I urge you to oppose Section 1 of AB 145 so we can continue to help veterans.
Good morning, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Miguel Sierra. I serve as the Volunteer Coordinator and Program Officer for NDVS, but I'm coming as Miguel, speaking out of my testimony. I'm also a National Guard service member, currently going on 5 years, and through both my work and personal experience, I've seen firsthand how difficult it is for veterans to access benefits they deserve. When I sought assistance from the VA for my own eligibility, I was told I didn't qualify, not because I hadn't served, but because the VA system is complex. It wasn't until I connected with Veteran Benefit Guide that I was able to understand my options and receive the guidance I needed. If I, someone who worked in the veteran services, struggles with the VA process, I can only imagine how much harder it is for others, especially aging and disability veterans. At the Veterans Home, I worked closely with VBG and their impact is undeniable. They donated $5,000, provided volunteer and support key elements to our Veterans Day ceremony, which brought together Governor Lombardo, Senator Cortez, Masto. VBG is more than just a business. They're veterans helping veterans. That is why I am deeply concerned about AB 145. While I support the efforts to protect veterans from fraud, this bill will also eliminate legitimate organizations like VBG that provide crucial assistance. The VA is already overwhelmed. If this bill passes as written, many veterans will be left out without guidance, making it even harder for them to access benefits that they earn. Rather than removing private assistance entirely, I urge the committee to consider safeguards, such as accreditation and oversight, so that veterans are protected while still having access to the support they need. As a service member, as someone who worked with veterans every day, I ask you to reconsider AB 145 approach, and I'm ensured that veterans retain access to every available resource. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, and we will now move down to Las Vegas. And if you would like to begin in Las Vegas, we'll do 5 minutes of testimony in support of opposition. Please begin.
Yes, my name is Ross Bryant. I'm retired Army. I'm also a disabled vet. And like many vets in this room, I know everybody on both sides of this issue. In fact, Ruben Da Silva is a famous rebel vet. So I would say my story is simple. I've had a lifetime battle with the VA. I had all the free services from everyone who could help me. I got denied till you die, and I had given up. And then I had Veteran Benefit Guide help me, and I finally got my disability rating 17 years after my retirement. And yes, I paid a fee, and yes, it was acceptable to me because I should have had that benefit back in 2005. I totally support accreditation and safeguards, and I also support NDVS helping any veteran that gets a denial a list of accredited people that can help them with their appeal. And that's what Veteran Benefit Guide did for me. And so I oppose the bill because I want to make sure everyone has choices to try to continue their fight with the VA. And I also believe, under the current administration, I'm not being political, if we're going to start cutting 80,000 employees at the VA, things are not going to get better. They're going to get more challenging. And that means every vet needs more choice. Thank you very much.
Good morning. Thank you, Chair and Assembly Committee. My name is Leo Garcia, Leogarcia. I'm from Boulder City, Nevada. I'm a United States Air Force veteran, a Desert Shield, Desert Storm veteran. I'm here as Joe Veteran, not representing any veteran organization, even though I wear many hats in the veteran community locally and nationally. I would like to share my personal experience in hope of providing some insight into the current challenges faced by veterans with dealing with the VSOs. Throughout my journey, I've encountered numerous obstacles while seeking assistance from organizations that I have memberships with, such as the American Legion, Disabled American Veterans, and Veterans of Foreign Wars. Despite having all the necessary documents, including medical records, DD-14 form in hand, these organizations were unable to deliver the support they had promised. In fact, a local VFW commander even suggested I was capable enough to navigate the process on my own. After 8 long years of frustration, my wife and I finally found a reliable source, the Veterans Benefit Guide. They efficiently processed my claim for a small fee, which we were comfortable with, saving us considerable time and effort. Recently, I decided to work with an accredited VSO to submit the necessary paperwork for the PACT Act claim. Despite the initial assurance, it took 2 weeks for the VSO to inform me that my information had not been submitted due to their error, leading to further delays. I am still waiting for the results of my claim. It is with these experiences in mind that I express my opposition to AB 145, Section 1. Rather than eliminating all outside claim processes, I believe our focus should be on educating the veterans to recognize competent subpar claim processors and training VSOs to be better equipped to handle claims efficiently and accurately. It is crucial that we enhance the capabilities of the VSO to ensure the veterans receive the support they need without unnecessary delays or errors.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. That is your 2 minutes. If we can move on to the
you.
next person. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair and Committee. For the record, my name is TJ Henderson, spelled just like the city I don't own. I'm a Navy veteran, and I'm the president and founder of the Veteran Social Club. I stand firmly against Section 1 of AB 145 because this is about the right to choose. I consider myself an informed veteran. I feel like I know what's best for me, and I don't need anyone telling me who I can or can't turn to for help getting the benefits I earned. I fought for freedom, and that includes the freedom to choose who I trust to help get me what I deserve. I've seen countless veterans fight for years, denial after denial that you've heard before me, until they finally get the right help and receive their benefits faster with better results by these companies. That's the real issue here. Instead of taking away our choices, let's talk about why there are so many denials, why the backlog exists, and how to fix a system that continues to fail veterans. Veterans should have the right to seek the best help available, whether free or paid, without interference. Taking away that right doesn't protect us, it limits us. This bill doesn't solve a problem, it creates one. When veterans get their benefits, their lives change. They regain stability, confidence, and purpose. They start showing up, getting involved in their communities, joining athletic programs, volunteering, and reconnecting with that team mentality that we all miss from service. They don't just survive after they get their benefits, they thrive. So let me be clear, I am the shark. I'm not getting eaten by anyone. I urge you to oppose Section 1 of AB 145 and stand with veterans by protecting our right to choose. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair and Committee. For the record, I'm Jimmy Depew, Jimmy, DE, capital PEW. I am a 20-year Air Force retired air reporter and airdrop parachute rigger with 5 combat deployments in support of the global war on terror in 4 separate operations. I am a disabled veteran and a 2-time recipient of the Air Force Commendation Medal. I am speaking today as Jimmy the Veteran in opposition of Section 1 of AB 145. I am a member of the VFW and the DAV. I am as dialed in to the veteran community as a GWAT veteran can get. As I am sure many of the veterans in this room, who I also know, can continue to go on with our military-grade abbreviations, that the ones that we support and the ones that support us. One specifically stands out the most, and that's VBG and their contributions to our veteran community. In military science, a force multiplier is a factor or combination of factors that give personnel or weapons the ability to accomplish greater feats than without them. VBG, along with my aforementioned organizations, are force multipliers for each other. Through timely support of one another, together we are stronger. Taking organizations out of Nevada that support veterans and our community only weakens the availability of such organizations to the veterans that need them the most. Just like taking the Marines out of the Department of the Navy, as no sensible veteran would ever suggest, as I just did. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now move to the phones, and if we have time, we will come back to Carson City and Las Vegas. AVH, is there anyone on the lines in opposition that wishes to testify?
To testify in opposition of Assembly Bill 145, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. Chair, we have no callers wishing to testify in opposition at this time.
Thank you. We will come back to Carson City. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair and committee members. My name is Lisa Kalkas, and I'm the CMO and VP of Public Affairs for VBG. I'm also a proud Army veteran and an Iraqi war veteran. I'm testifying today in opposition to Section 1 of AB 145. Too often, organizations try to tell a story of veterans being taken advantage of by claim sharks, and to be sure, there are companies out there like that. But let me be clear, VBG is not one of them. When we shared with our employees what this bill would do and asked if anyone wanted to show their support for opposition, more employees wanted to come than could fit in this room. That's because they believe in the work that VBG does. I'd like to ask the VBG employees here and in Vegas to stand up and be recognized for their commitment to our country's veterans. These are the people that hear the stories of frustration from the vets trying to navigate a complex system, and they know the help they provide is life-changing to the vets we serve. I urge the committee to reject Section 1 of AB 145 and protect the right of Nevada's veterans to choose how they want to obtain their benefits. I know there's an additional person in Vegas, so I'd like to defer the rest of my time to them. Thank you.
Thank you. And can you hear me in Las Vegas? We've lost visual.
We've got you in Las Vegas.
Okay, great. If you would like to go ahead quickly, please do, and we can get both of y'all in.
Good morning, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Brandon Mills, BRANDON MILLS. I'm a service-disabled Army veteran, a business owner, a member of the Southern Nevada Veterans Chamber of Commerce, Veterans Social Club, and the VFW, and I'm speaking on my own behalf. I am here today to strongly oppose Section 1 of AB 145. This bill would block independent private companies from assisting veterans in navigating the complex VA claims process, effectively cutting off a crucial lifeline for those who have already sacrificed for this country. As someone who has recently gone through the VA claims process and was assisted by a non-accredited organization, I can tell you that dealing with the VA system is overwhelming, confusing, and often discouraging. Without expert assistance, many veterans are left struggling to access the benefits they have rightfully earned. The reality is that VA-accredited representatives alone cannot meet the overwhelming demand for claims assistance. Independent organizations step in to fill that gap, providing veterans with the guidance and advocacy they need to get fair disability compensation. Taking this option away would leave thousands of veterans lost in bureaucratic red tape, delaying or denying the support they deserve. Let's be clear, AB 145 is not about protecting veterans. It is about restricting their choices, pitting vets against vets, and lifting a giant middle finger to those that sacrificed for our country. Passing this bill would send a clear message that Nevada values bureaucracy over the well-being of those who served. I urge you to stand with our veterans and reject AB 145. Thank you.
Hi, good morning. My name is Lester Lombard. I'm an Air Force veteran. I represent multiple veteran organizations here in the community, but I'm here just speaking on my own behalf. My name is spelled Lester Lumbad. And just speaking as like I said, as an Air Force veteran, my wife is also an Air Force veteran, which is what originally brought us here to Las Vegas 8 years ago. We have 4 young children in school. And, for someone who has a very busy schedule, day to day, my wife is a physician. Both of us have, very heavy schedules that, being able to lean on resources such as Veteran Benefits Guide that can, assist us in making the best use of our time, having available choices, like kind of going to what my personal experience was in working with the VSOs, and not to discredit what that experience was. I know that it was very well intentioned and it was helpful in certain areas. And, I'm very thankful for the help that was provided to me. But, seeking out records and, what I thought was going to be a simple process and seeking out records from the NPRC turned out to be a very overly complicated process that, that I wasn't really able to get the assistance needed, during that process. And, I've ended up having to turn to one of the local congressional offices, for assistance in that. But then because of the length of time that, that was consumed from that process, I've decided that, my best choice based on my schedule and availability and personal bandwidth is to utilize services like Veteran Benefits Guide, because of not only because of the services they provide, but also because of the strong connection that they have with the community and the value that they've demonstrated in the time that I've known them. So I urge you to hear out what, all the different opinions that have been shared, and I personally oppose Section 1 of AB 145. Thank you.
Thank you. I will now move on to testimony in neutral. Is there anyone in Carson City who wishes to testify on AB 145 in neutral? Seeing no one step up, is there anyone in Las Vegas wishing to testify in neutral on AB 185? If so, please step up to the front. 145. Sorry, if you wish to testify in neutral on 145, please step forward in Las Vegas. Seeing no one step forward, AVH, is there anyone on the lines in neutral on 145?
To testify in neutral for Assembly Bill 145, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue.
Test. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can. Please go ahead.
Yeah, my name is Al Rojas. I live in Assembly District 12 in Sunrise Manor. I'm a member. I am not a veteran. I am a member of a community activist group, a neighborhood watch program, one of the largest ones here on the east side. And we reach out to homeless people a lot, and some of them are veterans. And there is no need. There is no reason for any veteran that should be out there homeless, with us being the richest country in the world in terms of GDP, far outreaching China, just for those that don't know. So what I'm hearing is that the veterans feel like their rights are going to be restricted. Let us not forget the First Amendment, that we are able to speak up peacefully. This is a peaceful way for the veterans to have a voice. I'm totally against Section 1 of this bill.
I'm sorry, so, sir, Mr. Rojas?
It didn't go through.
Mr. Rojas, are you testifying
Okay,
in
I'll be
opposition?
I'm talking in opposition. I had my phone up, I had my finger, but you guys didn't get through.
Okay, if you can.
I have the star 9 up.
Okay, we will put this in opposition. Thank you.
Okay, well, anyway, okay, so you can put it under opposition. Okay, we need to get our veterans off the streets, increase options for our veterans, and we got to attack homelessness. There should be no veteran that's homeless. Thank you very much.
Chair, we have no additional callers for neutral at this time.
Okay, thank you. If the presenter would like to give any final remarks.
Thank you, Chair. Ruben De Silva for the record. Before I have very brief final remarks here. I just want you to think about just what just happened here, especially with some of the opposition statements. We have here a company now that wants you all, elected representatives of the people of the state, to change the law to fit their business model. Just think about that one more time. You have a company in this state that wants you to change the law to fit their business model because they are at this moment outside of the law in very questionable ways. So I just want you to ponder that as we look at bringing up this vote in the committee and in the legislature in general. Just a few other solutions that I wanted to mention. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So if there's three things that I was thinking about as a way of like getting around this, over the next couple of weeks. One, if every single employee here becomes a VSO themselves, they can go through the accreditation process. It is 100% free. That would work. And then you could work out a deal with your employer as to how you can then serve the veterans community. That, by the way, would be a huge boon to Nevada if you have this many new VSOs, all the folks wearing blue shirts here, who have some experience now in this affair and in this matter, to become accredited through the VA as individual VSOs while still maintaining employment with VBG. Number two, pass AB 145 and then work with the NDVS to create some kind of a state accreditation program, like the way that the Colonel Devine mentioned. Pass the bill, have the safeguards in place, and then have additional safeguards for veterans. This is not taking away choice. This is only adding safeguards. You are not fundamentally impeding the ability of veterans to go to a claims agent. The accreditation may take away the initial claim, which is easy. I mean, to use a Drake moniker, is 0 to 100 real quick. All right, but the real red tape, what these veterans were talking about, and other members, it's during the claims appeal. That's the difficult part. And that you can charge. There's nothing that stops you from being charged if you are accredited with those safeguards in place. And then number three, just pass the bill as it is, and you'll for sure have those safeguards. There'll be that certainty in place. I want to make an appeal to our federal representatives. If any of you are watching, I know this is a national sort of discussion that's taking place around this issue. Senators Rosen, Senators Cortez Masto, Representatives Amade, Lee, Horsford, and Titus. We need you to work on getting this resolved at the national level. The GUARD Act, the SAVE Act, the PLUS Act are all going to be heard here soon. That would be the ultimate solution to this. And then lastly, and then I'll end on this, I just want you to remind you all here as elected representatives of the people, my colleagues, fellow assembly members of the great state of Nevada, that one of our most important oaths that we took was to protect the residents of this state, was to protect Nevadans. And I don't see or can't see anybody greater to protect than our veterans in this state. Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. One quick question. You mentioned in what you were saying that to pass the bill as it is. Do you mean as it is with the amendment?
With the amendments, I'm sorry. The bill with the amendments. Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
That would work. Thank you.
Thank you. I will now close the hearing on Assembly Bill 145, and I want to thank everyone who came out to testify in support, opposition, and neutral on all the bills today. We will now be moving to public comment. As a reminder, members of the public can provide public comment in person or telephonically and may submit public comment up to 24 hours after the meeting. Instructions for providing public comment can be found on the agenda. To provide public comment telephonically, dial 888-475-4499. When prompted to provide the meeting ID, enter 886-6222-2137, then press pound when prompted for the participant ID. Each person will have 2 minutes to provide testimony. You may also submit written public comment to the committee, again, up to 24 hours after the hearing. Public comment is for items that are not the bills that were heard today. If you are giving public comment, please remember to clearly state and spell your name for the record. Is there anyone here in Carson City who wishes to provide public comment? Seeing no one approach, is there anyone in Las Vegas wishing to provide public comment? Seeing no one approaches, AVH, is there anyone on the line to provide public comment today?
If you wish to provide public comment, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. Caller with the last 3 digits 405, please press star 6 to unmute yourself.
Yeah, hi, my name is Al Rojas. I live in Assembly District 12 over in Sunrise Manor. I'm part of several neighborhood watch groups and a community activist to reduce homelessness in our area. And I want to bring to the attention of the assembly that we're having great success with our neighborhood watch programs, networking with owners, networking with Metro's COP and our sheriff program, and networking with educators and organizations who are into safety, like surveillance and things of that sort. I ask that we take into consideration the power that neighborhood watch programs have, and maybe start some legislation or be advocates for it. Thank you very much.
Chair, we have no additional callers for public comment at this time.
Thank you. The next meeting of the Government Affairs Committee will take place on Tuesday, March 11th at 8 a.m. in room 4100. That concludes our meeting for today. The meeting is adjourned.